eventually joins us here at X Golf at AmFam Field, which I believe he will do in the next 10 or so minutes. But I do want to start with the Green Bay Packers, because each Thursday morning I record a show called Weekly Wilde, which is, of course, is with Jason Wilde, who will join us at 3:15 this afternoon, that you can watch on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube page each and every Thursday. We kind of dive into the big issues, the big topics around the Green Bay Packers every week. And for the first time this season, I found myself today talking to Jason Wilde going, oh, this team might not be as good as I've thought it is all season long. Despite the 6-3 record, which is a good start, despite a nice win over the Houston Texans, and some of the nice things they're doing defensively, right? Creating all the turnovers, which was a huge downside for this team the past several years under defensive coordinator Joe Barry. So it's been a nice turnaround defensively under the new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. But I'm looking at the record, I'm looking at the upcoming schedule, and for the first time all season I'm going, oh man, this might get weirder than I thought it was going to. Team is 6-3. They've got some nice wins. I mentioned the win over Houston, which is certainly their signature win on the season. Other than that, nothing too sexy, right? You beat the Colts, you beat the Rams, you beat the Cardinals. There's not really a sexy win, per se, on this Packers schedule so far. But then when you look at the losses, let's think about them in order. Philadelphia Eagles week 1. Okay, yeah, that's kind of the fourth preseason game. Jordan Love gets hurt at the end of it. You're in Brazil, weird conditions, not exactly ideal. You lose that game. Your second loss comes to the Minnesota Vikings at Lambeau Field, who got out to a 28-0 lead and just smoked you. And then your third loss, of course, came this previous weekend against the cream of the crop, the best team in the NFC, the Detroit Lions. So the three teams that have beat you this year are probably, they are in terms of the standing above you in the NFC. Detroit, of course, the 1 seed as it stands at 7-1. Minnesota, the 5 seed, the top wild card seed at 6-2, and Philadelphia right behind them also at 6-2 as a 6 seed. I hadn't looked at the playoff standings because, again, we're only midway through the season. The Packers are right now the 7 seed in the NFC. They are 6-3, the 7 seed. The Bears are the 8 seed at 4-4. Bears are playing the Patriots this weekend. They should and will win that game, become 5-4.
What is that? The Bears should and will do anything.
Kyle Wallace is here, by the way.
The Bears should and would do anything. The
Patriots are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, well, the Bears are the Bears, so you seem to forget that factor.
But I guess what I'm setting up, Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe with you here on KBN live from X Golf at AmFam Field, is the Packers are closer to losing or missing the playoffs than they are to winning the division as it stands right now, which gives me a little bit of the midseason EBGBs as we head into the bye week. I'm not a pessimist by nature. You tend to think so. Others don't, though.
Oh, okay.
You tend to think I'm more pessimistic. I'm a little bit more worried than I thought I'd be 9 weeks into the year.
How are you? Okay, Strofe. What I'm very confused about. What up, KBN Nation? What up, Strofe? Thanks for being here today, man.
Hey, no problem, dude.
I appreciate you. I decided to come to work.
Happy to be on time and show up to work on time.
I decided to come to work today. I almost didn't come to work, but I decided to come to work today because I love KBN Nation. But overall, I don't understand how you could be potentially feeling stressed or pessimistic about a football team that is 6-3. Strofe, a year ago, or close to a year ago, what was the Green Bay Packers?
I don't care about last year.
No, but you got to understand, Strofe.
I didn't have expectations last year. I had expectations this year. It's different.
This football team is in a better position than what they were last year to be successful as well. Their schedule coming up is not going to be super easy, but I think you have an opportunity to figure out who you are. And so I'm not concerned whatsoever about the Green Bay Packers making the playoffs, not making the playoffs. Right now they're 0-2 in the division, but they still have 4 divisional games left. They still have to play the Bears twice, which they can sweep the Bears as they have done over and over and over. There's a guy named Preston Smith we just traded. Do you know what his record was against the Bears as a Green Bay Packer?
He would be 10-0.
I think it was 11 or 12-0. Never lost, okay? He never lost. And so with that, the Green Bay Packers can definitely go on and sweep the Bears, and they can do what they did last year and go on the road and beat the Minnesota Vikings, go on the road and beat the Lions. And now you're talking about 4-2 in this division. Strofe, there still is an opportunity for the Green Bay Packers to win the NFC North, but it seems to me that you're talking about the Green Bay Packers are closer to not making the playoffs than actually winning the division. That means you have a little doubt in your mind that the Packers are not going to make the playoffs this year, and that, my friend, would make you a pessimist.
Well, okay, fair, I guess, on that final point.
There's another word I would use, but I want to be appropriate. We in public.
Yeah, we're both in public and FCC regulated, so let's keep it to a minimum. But when you say, they've been tested, right? I would say there's 4 games that fall in line against playoff teams, good teams, teams you can count on to not only make the playoffs but likely make a run in the playoffs. Those games came against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings, the Houston Texans, and the Detroit Lions. Mm-hmm. They're 1-3 in those matchups. When it comes to the rest of their schedule, right, the remaining 8 games on their schedule, most of those games are against teams that have winning records. So are we going to see what they're made of? Yes, Kyle. But given what we have already seen this season in terms of matchups where we are, quote-unquote, going to see what they're made of, they're 1-3.
No,
and if you're not concerned, I don't know how real your fandom is.
Listen, there's a cause for concern for some, and then for me, it's an opportunity to figure out exactly what this Packer football team is going to be. I don't believe that the Green Bay Packers are a terrible football team. I don't think they're a bad football team. I think they're better than the Seahawks. I think they can beat, and I know they can beat the Minnesota Vikings, and I know, despite the loss to the Lions, I know if the Green Bay Packers have a healthy quarterback going into that game, the outcome could be different based off the way that the defense did compete in the first half against that Detroit Lions football team. And so for me, I understand right now in the big games against the really good teams when they had an opportunity, whether it was the Philadelphia Eagles or whether it was the Vikings when they were undefeated or the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers did not do enough to win those football games. But they did not look like they were just, not outmatched. Like the Lions game, Jordan Love threw the interception at the end of the half. That really took me out of it. But the Eagles game and the Minnesota Vikings game, the Packers just, again, Jordan Love coming off an injury. And that is something that we have to put into play.
I agree with that.
Something we have to consider is that when you do not have one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, when you do not have your field general 100% feeling like himself, you are not going to have an opportunity to maximize who you are and play to your full ability. And I think that's something that hampered the Green Bay Packers in 2 of their losses this season. The Eagles game, it is what it is. They both had field conditions. They both had to play through it, and the Eagles were the better football team that day. But when you talk about the game against the Minnesota Vikings, when you talk about the game against the Detroit Lions, I don't care what anybody has to say. The Green Bay Packers were not at full strength in those games, and they did not execute the way they needed to. But more importantly, their quarterback was not the guy they needed him to be because of injuries.
Okay, so you can say the excuse of they weren't at full strength, but don't you worry that if we get to the postseason, and that's still an if. This is a 6-3 team who's the 7th seed in the NFC as it stands right now. Nobody's going to be at full strength. You can't use that as an excuse.
No. See,
they lost the games they lost.
No, see, see, everybody ain't a somebody, Strofe. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Everybody ain't when you go on, Sherman and Capitol in Milwaukee, right? Mm-hmm. When you walk through the building at the MPS school or go to some community I'm a part of, they not gonna say, "Ooh, who is Alex Strofe? Happy to see you." They gonna say, "Oh, that's the Wallace boy. That's Kyle. I know your mama. I know you ain't gonna have you in Milwaukee, right? I'm somebody in Milwaukee." Now we go to Green Bay, Mr. Green Bay Strofe, right? Mr. Pro Shop Strofe. If we go to Green Bay, they may say, "Oh, that's Strofe." And they're gonna say, "Oh, who's that dread-headed brother? He played for the Packers." Like that's what they gonna say. And so my whole point is this: is that Jordan Love is a somebody. So yes, if the Packers go into the playoffs and Jordan Love is not healthy, then we should have cause for concern. But yes, teams are going to be hurt. But if your quarterback is not available during the playoffs, that is a lot different than Jair Alexander not being available, Josh Jacobs not being available, Rasheed Walker not being available. The quarterback is the most important position in football. If the Chiefs went into the playoffs and Patrick Mahomes injured his ankle and he did not play in those games, the Chiefs would not have the Super Bowls that they have.
So what you're saying is you need to find reasons to make excuses.
No, what I'm saying is that if Jordan Love is healthy, the Packers are okay.
But are they?
Yes.
He's thrown 10 interceptions this year.
If Jordan Love is healthy, and that's why I was so staunch last week on the fact that we did not need to play Jordan Love in that football game because, again, I understand there's a difference between being hurt and injured. I know Brad Nortman, who played in the NFL, and Ben Bruss, who played at a high college level, played in a Final Four. I know they understand the difference between being hurt and being injured. But with the Green Bay Packers, they should have been really focused on being cautious because win or lose against the Lions, that was not going to determine the rest of your season. It was not. You ended up losing with Jordan Love. Jordan Love ended up re-injuring himself or having to play even more through an injury in that football game, and you literally got nothing out of it. What do you take away from that football game? Honestly, what is it? When you watch that film, and what is the overall takeaway from that football game?
From this past Sunday?
Yeah.
That the Packers are not near the level of the best team in the NFC?
When your quarterback's not healthy. You didn't get a real evaluation of what the Green Bay Packers can be against the Detroit Lions football team.
That's not accurate.
I myself believe the Packers.
The Lions got better this year. The Packers got worse on paper.
I myself believe the Green Bay Packers defense in that football game, especially in the first half, did a hell of a job.
I agree.
They did a hell of a job.
The offense didn't.
It did not. You give me a Jordan Love that is confident in his ability to move around the pocket, confident in his ability to be able to change direction quickly, which on that interception when he tried to change, I said it earlier in the week, there was a hiccup in his giddy-up, right? He couldn't move the way he wanted to move, and he ended up throwing that interception, that pick six that changed the complete football game. And so all I'm saying is this. If you have a healthy Jordan Love, I still feel better playing the Lions again. They are a better football team. They are absolutely the better football team, but the gap that we saw on Sunday is not as big as it truly really is in reality, because when you have a healthy Jordan Love, I believe the Green Bay Packers compete a lot better in that football game. I don't feel like I feel like you come out with more than 3 points in the first half.
Okay. I don't know that I fully agree with you, but the defense did perform well. I do agree with that, right? Only allowing 17 points from the Lions offense last week is an indication of a pretty good defense, because the Lions offense has been running over teams the last couple of weeks. So I'm with you there. The offense was fine, right? Josh Jacobs had a pretty good game.
But you threw the interception. Your injured quarterback threw the interception, and it basically took the run game out the equation. Like that is the impact of having an injury,
yes.
And especially a quarterback that is turnover riddled like Jordan Love is and has been making poor decisions.
But it sounds to me like you're operating under the assumption that everything is just going to get better for Jordan Love, right? He's automatically just going to turn into the quarterback he was the second half of last season, where he only threw one interception through, I think it was 7 or 8 games. I love your optimism, and for sure I hope you're right.
I believe,
but I'm not positive you will be.
I believe once Jordan Love gets to full health, he'll be able to be the guy that we saw last year.
When you've got teams like Detroit and Minnesota, and I hate to say it, but at Chicago coming out of the bye, San Francisco, New Orleans, Seattle, all on the schedule in the second half of the year.
I like that.
Do you have the opportunity to see what you're made of? Absolutely.
I like that.
But given what we know, given the evidence we have through 9 games this season, I don't feel super confident as it stands right now. So we will see as we continue to roll on here on Kyle Bruston Norman. That's Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe hanging out with you live from X Golf.
I see about 4-5 wins. I see 5 wins in them games, boy.
4 or 5.
That's 5 wins. 5 wins. 5 and 3. 5 and 3. At
Makes
the bare
them 11 and 6.
At the bare minimum, 5 and 3. Mark it. Mark it, Chris. Right. Chris is our producer today.
Chris is our producer today. Chris Larson back at the Google offices, one call That's All Studio at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. We were at X Golf in beautiful AmFam Field, sitting in the outfield. They've got some holes set out on the field today, Kyle. People hitting shots off the upper deck.
So they asked me when I was coming in, do you want to you need to sign a waiver? I said I got to get to a radio show. And then it made
I had to sign the waiver.
Well, it made me nervous because
you didn't sign the waiver?
Well, I'm going to go sign the waiver, but it made me nervous. Why do I have to sign a waiver to hit a golf ball?
Do you ever read the terms and conditions when you sign things?
No.
I don't either. Does anybody?
Pages and pages and pages. No, nobody reads it.
So what's the?
Attorneys?
I guess nobody will know the answer if nobody reads it. But do companies sneak in things in those terms and conditions that maybe you wouldn't agree to?
Yeah, they do. Somebody said Disney World, and don't quote me on this now, KBN Nation. Somebody told me something happened at Disney World where it might have been a national story where somebody's husband had a heart attack at Disney World. And then they tried to sue Disney World, but they couldn't because when they purchased the ticket, they agreed to terms and conditions that Disney World isn't liable for anything that happens to you. Something like that. I can Google it. But, you better protect yourself.
So you better start reading the terms and conditions.
You know what? It is what it is.
All right, so if Kyle gets cracked in the head with a golf ball. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. So X Golf, a great partner of ours on ESPN Madison. We were at one of the X Golf locations in the Madison area with what at the time was Rutledge and Hamilton, now Jim, Matt, and Molly, weekdays from 4 to 6. And I hit a golf ball off the tee at X Golf, and somehow it went in between my legs, right? I'm right-handed. So I swung the golf club. It went in between my legs and hit somebody's chair behind me. Oh. I don't know how a golf ball can possibly go that direction when you're swinging to your left. It went behind me.
Strofe, you're that bad.
I'm unbelievably unathletic, yes.
Well, so why did you compare me and you? Yesterday you said we are the same level of golf.
Yeah, probably.
No, not probably.
I've gotten better since then.
See, here's the thing about me. I'm not a great athlete, but hell, I'm athletic. Like I'm not a professional.
You complain about every muscle in your body hurting if you walk a mile.
That's true. That's true. But when it come to game time, now your boy can grip it and rip it, baby. I'm John Daly.
We'll find out if Kyle Wallace can really grip it or rip it. But coming up next, over at ESPN.com, Rob Demovsky's 4 things the Packers need to clean up in the second half of the season following their bye week coming up this weekend. We will get Kyle's reaction to the 4 bullet points. We will ask you what your biggest concern is for the Green Bay Packers the second half of the season after we read from Rob Domofsky's top 4. Coming up later in the hour, we have Over-Under. Coming up later in the show, Jason Wilde at 3:15. Jim Rutledge will join us at 3:45. Bryan Bulaga will join us at 4:45. We'll talk Bucks in the 4 o'clock hour. Slam Pack Show here from X Golf at AmFam Field. We're just getting started with you until 5 o'clock. Alex Stroh, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you. It's Kyle Bruston-Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman.
The comments were so mean, but they also were kind of funny.
Wait, I didn't see the comments.
They said popcorn back in middle school must have been tough.
Please don't pick me.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be.
Kringle
I think his legs.
Yeah. Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
Are you guys being
turnovers.
serious? You guys can't put 2 and 3
I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish
I'm
turnover.
sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Gabe Neitzel here. I know you've already heard me talking about how Mentality has helped me over the years, but there are others like me. Jason has been using Mentality for a while now and is loving the results.
I have gotten a handful of friends, probably a couple dozen, especially those that are closer to my age, maybe even a little bit older, because I just tell them, you got to check this out. Do not wait any longer. Just go and admit it. Yep, you're at an age where things are slowing down. I promise you, you're not going to regret it, and that's truly what I get. I'll get a phone call after, like, man, I feel like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese right now.
Learn more today at LoTUSA.com.
Who's looking for a deal? Well, Cousin Subs has a better deal just for you. Cousin's new $10 meal deals are now available online only. Choose between a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub, a bag of chips or regular fry, a regular fountain beverage, and cookie at cousinsubs.com or on the mobile app for just $10. Now that's a better deal. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. Available at participating locations only. Offer subject to change without notice.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack with a question for those of you betting on sports. Did you miss our great week last week? 5-1 on Sunday. Actually, if you played the soccer and the players props, a 14-4 Sunday got everybody into profit after an 11-4 week in football. Go to FatJackSports.com. If you're betting the games, you can win for less than $100 a week. College basketball's now started, and we are having a huge November. Get signed up today. The plays go to your personal portal and are emailed to you, and they'll make you money. FatJackSports.com to win.
Are you looking for reliable transportation this holiday season? I've got you covered. It's Jen Latta from ESPN Milwaukee, and with holiday parties, family gatherings, and year-end events on the horizon, I trust AccuTrans Group to handle all of my private transportation needs. Whether it's a corporate function or festive celebration, AccuTrans gets me there safely and on time. As a veteran-owned business, they pride themselves on top-notch service that you can count on. Booking is easy, stress-free, and reliable. Just visit AccuTransGroup.com to reserve your holiday ride today. That's AccuTransGroup.com.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts?
Gina Della from Pella? How'd you get into the booth?
No, listen. If they made our goalposts just a little wider, and why just yellow? It's Green Bay. Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, I get it. You can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want. From durable materials and fold-away hardware to custom colors and ease of maintenance, backed by quality craftsmanship, energy efficiency, and warranties that will last for years.
And this has got to be the Pella Dagger.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 60 months at PellaWI.com. Okay, now I've got popcorn and soda.
Right here.
$22.50, please.
Too bad we can't customize concession prices.
That's it. You got this, partner? I'm out of here.
Hold your appointment on or before November 8th. Certain restrictions apply.
Badger fans, the final home matchup at Camp Randall Stadium is just around the corner, and it's a big one. This Black Friday, Badger football takes on Minnesota in a battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Great tickets remain for the Border Battle matchup, but they're going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to be in the stands. Secure your seats for November 29th. For more information and to get your tickets, visit uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS. That's uwbadgers.com or 1-800-GO-BADGERS. Don't wait. Get your spot today.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Hey, man, wanna be my baby. Hey, hold me down like the CIA. Side of my car trying to see my face. Hey,
Kyle Bruston Nortman rolls out live from X-Golf at American Family Field. Alex drove in for Bruston Nortman alongside Kyle Wallace, hanging out with you until 5 o'clock tonight. Lots to get into. Packers bye week. I've got a little bit of the EBGBs, man. I can't lie to you. I don't know where it went. I don't know if it's because of, and Kyle, maybe you can play a little like psychologist here, get into my brain a little bit. Do you think I'm feeling this way because, A, the Packers lost to the best team in the NFC Sunday. Tuesday, they on paper get worse at the trade deadline, and now I don't have a game to rebound and make me feel better. Right? You come out of a relationship, you kind of get your rebound, you start getting your confidence back. Oh. I don't have the opportunity for a rebound this weekend.
Yeah, your little phase, the phase you go to, garden tool phase you talk about. I know that.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. You and all you're all shorties.
Man, that's back in the day, man. I'm almost a married man. We can't talk about
almost a married man.
One day.
Okay. But nonetheless, is it because I don't have the opportunity for my rebound for another week? Is that why I'm feeling this way?
No, I think you are feeling this way because of the Sunday sucked.
Sunday sucked.
No, Sunday it sucked. And there's very few times where I watch a Packer game and I say the game is over at halftime. Even against the Minnesota Vikings where we were getting just destroyed, I said, okay, we can come back. Sunday, I knew there was absolutely no chance of this Green Bay Packer team coming back. And Sunday, I discovered again, I know there's a gap. I don't think the gap is not significant when it comes to talent.
I think it's more significant than you're playing it up to be.
I don't think the talent gap is significant. I think there's a gap there, but I think there's an execution and discipline gap, an experience gap that the Detroit Lions have, an identity gap that they have the advantage on those different things. But I don't think there's a big discrepancy in overall weapons and talent that our football team has versus their football team. They just execute a lot better than the Green Bay Packers. But coming out of Sunday's game, yeah, man, you should be a little bit just like, a little bit nervous. I can understand why people are nervous. I'm not nervous about anything, but I understand how you could be questioning some things. Your star quarterback did not look good. He threw a pick six in that game. So there's reasons for people to be concerned, but overall, for me, my mindset has shifted to, I understand right now we are not a Super Bowl caliber football team right now, but we are for sure a team that's going to find success throughout this season. We are a playoff team, Stroh. We're going to win a lot of football games in the remaining games that we have, Stroh. So I'm not concerned about that like you are. But overall, my biggest takeaway is I don't know if this Packers team can win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I don't either. Obviously there's a lot of season left. There's a lot of time to figure that out. But what we know right now, as it stands entering Week 10 in the NFL season, the Packers are the 7th seed in the NFC. They're the last playoff team in. That's what they were a year ago when they went to Dallas and beat the 2 seed in the wild card round of the playoff. Here's what else we know. This is the first time since Aaron Rodgers' rookie season the Packers started 0-2 in NFC North play. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. That was 2005 the last time the Packers started 0-2.
Oh, wow.
In division play. What were you doing in 2005? I was in first grade.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, that tells you how long ago that was.
I was singing in the club. I was singing all the great Kanye West songs.
Fitty was big at that point. Yeah, no doubt about that.
He was definitely big at that time.
Let's jump over to ESPN.com, where ESPN NFL Nation reporter and our friend Rob Demovsky has his 4 biggest issues for the Green Bay Packers as they enter their bye week. Any guesses on what could be on this list? 4 issues.
4 issues. It has to be something with special teams.
Nothing with special teams.
Oh, wow. So it's not – okay, well, then how about the penalties?
Penalties is one of them.
The defensive line.
The pass rush is one of them.
The turnovers by Jordan Love.
Interceptions is one of them. One left.
And then I would say injuries.
The penalties.
Oh, I thought I already said penalties.
What are we missing then? All right, interceptions, penalties, drop passes. And pass rush.
There it is. Yes. No, I did not think of drop passes.
Interceptions, drop passes, penalties, and pass rush. We are going to throw on the poll on Twitter/X at KBN ESPN, and you can text in and call in on this as well, 800-990-3776. Which of those 4, or you can go off the board, is your biggest concern for the Green Bay Packers as they enter their bye week? Interceptions, drop passes, penalties, pass rush, or you can go on the board. We'll put those 4 options, though, on the poll on Twitter at KBN ESPN. Interceptions, dropped passes, penalties, pass rush. Kyle Wallace, what's your biggest concern for this Packers team at 6-3 entering their bye week?
Yeah, the biggest concern for me, because when you look at the 4 that you just listed off, when you talk about pass rush, right, we can start with that one. The pass rush for the Green Bay Packers, that is something that I think can get better. I feel like that falls on coaching, because if you understand that I just don't have the 4 guys that can get home by themselves, I have to be creative. I have to bring more pressure. I have to do more stunts. We got to have more twists. We got to have more guys coming off the edge, maybe doing a corner blitz, maybe a safety blitz. I have to be more creative in the way that I create disruption in the backfield by bringing pressure. So that is something schematically that can be improved. So it's not, to me, pass rush. And then when you go to interceptions with Jordan Love, I believe in Jordan Love. I trust Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love will clean it up. He has some issues, not at this rate, but he has some issues throwing interceptions. Last year, when he kind of got into his little bit of a funk, he was able to find his way out of it. I believe he is talented enough to be able to be more disciplined and more consistent on the football team and make football field and make better decisions when it comes to throwing the football. So I feel fine about that. The drops. I feel good about where we're at with like, obviously we need to be better.
Well, they lead the league, so you probably don't feel great.
I don't feel great about it, but I feel great about the receivers in the room, right?
I do too.
Some of the drops last week, I think they had 6 drops, 5 or 6 drops.
6 drops last week against Detroit, yeah.
And you're a professional NFL player, so you got to make catches in the rain. The other team was able to do it. You have to be more focused and more locked in and able not to have that happen. I think that's something that we can definitely clean up. Tay Wicks last year had some issues catching the ball, but I think he'll be better. You know, Tucker Kraft, he'll be fine, right? Other guys are going to be okay. Romeo Dobbs is going to be okay. So I'm not super concerned when it comes to that. Penalties.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Penalties is the thing that I do not believe can be coached out of guys. We talked earlier this week to Bryan Bulaga when he joined us on KBN, and he talked about it's just on guys to be better. It's not too much coaches can do in order to make you be more focused. It's not something that that you could just solve like that. It is on the guys to be more disciplined, and I just don't know that we can do that. And this is not just based off the Packers' past history or things like that, even though I know special teams, we've been the most penalized special teams team, or high, getting penalized a lot on special teams in these past couple of years at a high rate. But overall, I've seen a lot of football teams, and I'll say the Dallas Cowboys, because they've been pretty good these last couple of years where they've made the playoffs.
Not this year, but previously.
But they were one of the most penalized teams.
Yeah.
And that glaring issue that they had came back to haunt them in the moments that it mattered most. And so that is why my biggest concern right now is penalties, because I do not know if the Packers are going to be able to clean that up. So, I don't know what the statistics are when it comes to teams that are top 10 in penalties to start the year, whether or not they get better or they get worse, or they just are consistent, right? But sometimes,
stand pat, right?
Yeah, sometimes you are just who you are. And I'm getting this feeling that the Green Bay Packers are going to just be a team that's going to have to deal with having 6 penalties per game, 7 penalties a game, because some are just stupid, right? Keyshawn Nixon last week was stupid. Guys jumping off sides just don't do you well, right? Holding penalties, it happens in football. Sometimes you get caught, other times you don't get caught. Those are things that just happen, and the Green Bay Packers are allowing this to negatively impact them. So I believe that if they do not clean up the penalties, and I think that's the hardest thing to clean up, that will be the biggest factor that could keep the Green Bay Packers from making it to where they want to go.
Yeah, obviously that is a big one, right? Self-inflicted wounds, I think, is the biggest reason the Packers lost to the Detroit Lions the way they did on Sunday at Lambeau Field. The penalties, the Jordan Love interception, just all missed tackles, right? All sorts of self-inflicted wounds, things you need to clean up, which has been a big part of the Packers' 3 losses this season against the Lions, Vikings, and Eagles, respectively. But my biggest thing for the second half of the season is, can Jordan Love be the magician again? Right? We can't just sit here and assume that it is a God-given fact that Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFL the second half of NFL season.
Send this to the Packers Pro Shop. This sounds like slander and hate of Jordan Love.
It's not slander or hate. I think Jordan Love is a good NFL quarterback, even leading the league in interceptions. He's still a good NFL quarterback. But we can't just sit here and assume that the second half of the NFL season is Jordan Love's half of the NFL season. What we saw a year ago was great. We can't just assume he's going to do it again. He's got 10 interceptions on the year. He threw 11 all of last season. So clearly him taking more risks, and sometimes it's worked out, right? There's multiple memorable plays this season where Jordan Love is thrown into double or triple coverage and it's worked out, which is great and it's fun and it's Favrean. But we can't just assume, what?
That's a good word.
Favrean?
Yeah.
But we can't just assume Love is going to get out of this funk and become the best quarterback in football all of a sudden in the second half of the season. So not only the interceptions from Jordan Love is the biggest thing that needs to change, but we need to see Jordan Love become the commander of this offense like we saw down the stretch last year. That's the biggest thing that I think hinges on, A, whether or not the Packers even make the playoffs, but let alone whether or not the Packers can continue to compete for the NFC North and eventually get to Super Bowl good, which I think you and I both have hope they can get to down the stretch.
Yeah, I do agree with if Jordan Love does not turn it around, that is the single most important factor to what the Green Bay Packers can and what they will be for this season. Because, again, like I said before, it's the most important position on the field. So if Jordan Love does continue, if he goes the route that you believe he may not turn it around, which is a shame for you to believe that. But if he does not turn it around and he's consistently throwing 1 to 2 interceptions per game, your defense just can't overcome that. That's way too many possessions and giving the other team positive field position that your team just cannot overcome week in and week out. So you're absolutely right. If Jordan Love doesn't turn it around, that will be the single factor that will determine the season of the Green Bay Packers.
Over at ESPN.com, our buddy Rob Domofsky has an article, 4 things the Packers need to fix to make a run in the playoffs. The interceptions by Jordan Love. He's tied with Geno Smith for the league. Dropped passes. Dontavian Wicks leads the league. 8 dropped passes for Dontavian Wicks, the second year.
That's a lot.
Wide out. Yeah, that is a lot. He's struggled. It reminds me of Devontae Adams year 2.
He ain't Devontae now.
Not yet, but Devontae wasn't Devontae when he was dropping.
Devontae showed flash. Right. He was open. Flashes.
And Dontavian Wicks has been open.
Yeah, maybe it's different this time. I think Tate Wicks is good, but Devontae Adams, I just remember they called him.
I think he'll evolve into a really good receiver in the league, but he's not going to if he continues to lead the league in drop passes. Is it penalties? The Packers, with the 6th most penalties in the league this season, 113, or last season, 113 penalties last season. They're 6th this year again with 66, so
wait a
half
minute,
of what they had a year
ago. Say that again. 113 put the Packers where at last year?
They were number 6 last year with 113 penalties. They are also 6th this year with 66.
And that is the thing that I have concern with, that sometimes that is who you are. That is who you are, and that is a concern that I have for this Packers football team.
And the final thing on Rob Domofsky's article, he thinks the Packers need to clean up to make a run in the playoffs, is the pass rush. We've got the poll in the field now on Twitter at KBN ESPN. Based on Rob Domofsky's article, which is most concerning to you? Interceptions, drop passes, penalties, or pass rush? We will review some of your response on the talk and text line. 800-990-3776. 800-990-ESPN is your way into KBN. You can talk to us on Twitter at KBN ESPN. You can also get at us on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Madison. If you're subscribed, you can talk as much or as little as you want on the YouTube chat at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Madison. Kyle and I are live at X Golf at American Family Field, the home of the Milwaukee Brewers, the NL Central champions. They know a thing or two about winning in the regular season.
Was that supposed to be a slight?
At the Packers a little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay. I love my Brewers and my Packers. How about that?
I do too.
Wait, so you're saying the Packers don't know a thing or two? This place, they
got to win the division.
Just a couple years ago, we were the kings of the division, whether it was the NFC North or the NL Central. We were winning divisions left and right.
Somebody once
the Badgers even won a damn division basketball. They won a conference title.
As somebody once famously said, the times they are a-changing. The Packers 0-2 in NFC North play for the first time since 2005. Kyle was a sophomore in high school. Aaron Rodgers was a rookie.
We ended up being fine that year, though.
05?
Yeah, I think, was that the...
No, that was the rough year. I think they were 6-10 that year.
Was it? So, wait a minute. You're right. You're right, because we got Aaron Rodgers with the 25th pick or something like that. Yeah.
That draft.
Because they ended up firing. I think that was the year they fired Mike Sherman.
That would be correct. Yeah. McCarthy came in the following year. So, there you go. All right, Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe hanging out with you live from X Golf at AmFam Field. We'll continue to discuss the Packers' concerns. Also about 12 or so minutes away from playing a little over-under here on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. We will continue the Packers discussion on the other side. It's KBN right here on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN.
Do you wash your shins in the shower? We shower from hair to kneecap. The rest can drip down our legs to our feet.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it does work that way.
What does the poll say?
34% don't wash their shins.
That is shockingly low. KBN Nation, you're better than that.
Yeah, it sounds like we have a lot of disgusting human beings on this planet.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years. Hop in or hop online at uwcu.org to join. Something that hasn't been done in almost 50 years. Iowa posting a 40 spot on Wisconsin over the weekend. The 42-10 loss drops the Badgers to 5-4 overall and 3-3 in Big Ten play. Luke Fickell on the Badgers' brutal loss in Iowa City. Audio courtesy Wisconsin Athletics.
That's the first time I've really felt this. Even after the Alabama game wasn't the same thing. This was kind of your worst nightmare, to just kind of be overtaken and manhandled and dominated, especially in the second half.
Wisconsin will hope to regroup during the bye before hosting Oregon on November 16th.
Pella's windows and doors feature durable materials, custom colors, and innovative features like shades between the glass. Get 0% interest for 60 months now through November 8th at PellaWI.com.
Come to Kessler's and be greeted by an owner of the store.
We're America's largest employee-owned jewelry company.
Okay, but as a customer, what does that mean to me?
For one thing, it means you get to see every possible diamond choice.
Kessler's has diamonds from diamond mines and created diamonds from plasma chambers.
You can choose from 1,400 loose diamonds.
And every style of engagement ring ever designed.
Okay, I'm convinced.
And no other store can show you a Kessler 81.
With 81 facets instead of just 57, it wins the sparkle contest every time.
I'm convinced.
And no other store has the Kessler Princess Cut.
Or the exclusive Kessler's Emerald Cut or Kessler's Square Radiant Diamond.
I give up.
And when you want to tell her that you love her twice as much today as the day you married her.
Kessler's has big anniversary diamonds that can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Kessler's is unique in all the world.
So what do you say to all that, Sarah?
Welcome to Kessler's.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Experience elite orthopedic care at OAW. Their skilled teams in Pewaukee, Brookfield, and Mukwonago offer tailored treatment for your needs.
The Bucks' losing streak has hit 6 games following a 116-114 road loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Milwaukee was without Giannis, who sat out with a strained abductor muscle. Despite a tough start to the season, head coach Doc Rivers says his team is staying positive.
I think the team's very positive. I think they're upbeat. No one wants to lose. We got some tough games coming up, but one win at a time. We win 3 or 4 in a row, and then the numbers say if you're 5-6 after, you have an 80% chance to make the playoffs. That's where numbers are so silly sometimes, especially early in the year.
The 1-6 Bucks back home at Fiserv Forum Thursday night to face the Utah Jazz. Tip-off is at 7.
This has been the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Book your appointment today at orthowisconsin.com.
With NBA League Pass, you can keep up with the whole league.
Wait, is this for real?
For real.
So I can choose from so many live games?
Yeah, up to 4 with Multiview.
And watch my favorite players dunk?
From every angle, home or away.
Wow, unbelievable.
Believe it, kid. With NBA League Pass, it's all possible. NBA League Pass, your home for streaming hoops.
Only select out-of-market games available and local blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Kyle Wallace looking like Doug Gottlieb, who made his debut as the head coach of Green Bay on Monday night. You're sweating through your button-up shirt, pal.
I am sweating through it, but Doug, they did a hell of a job. They competed against Oklahoma State, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
it was Doug Gottlieb's alma mater, Oklahoma State. They ended up losing by like 20, but they were in it until about 6 minutes. I watched that game. That's how much of a college hoops junkie I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was during the Milwaukee Panthers game.
It was.
The Milwaukee Panthers who play
beat up on Lakeland.
Yeah, that wasn't even That wasn't even fair. But they were more impressive against a D3 school than UW-Madison was.
Yeah, that's true. Struggling with UW River Falls. All right, we're not talking college hoops today, though. We're talking Green Bay Packers as we approach their bye week. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you here on ESPN Wisconsin. We are live at X Golf at American Family Field, the home of the Brewers. A Stand Up to Cancer initiative happening today. The upper deck, they've got holes set up on AmFam Field. So people are hitting off the upper deck here. It's very cool. It kind of looks like
somebody just got it in the
somebody
spot.
got it in the hole. Yeah, there's a bunch of rings, essentially giant hula hoops with holes or flags in the middle of it.
We got to get out here, man.
Yeah,
I gotta swing it, man.
Got to swing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get out there. Don't worry. We'll take a couple rips at it as we are hanging out with you until 5 o'clock live from X Golf at American Family Field. We were discussing Rob Demovsky's article over at ESPN.com. 4 things the Packers need to clean up as they make a run at the playoffs. The poll is in the field. Of those 4 things, which concerns you most? The interceptions by Jordan Love, he leads the league. The dropped passes by the Packers receivers, they lead the league. The penalties by the Packers, number 6 in the league, and the lack of pass rush as the Packers now today, or this week I should say, trade away veteran pass rusher Preston Smith. Over 80 votes in on Twitter at KBN ESPN. 52% of the vote going by way of penalties, the self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that, for me, is the biggest concern. And based off the stat that the Green Bay Packers had I should say well over, but they were in the teens, 116, you said, I think, for total penalties last year, which put them as
66 this year.
6th most penalized team in the NFL. Halfway through this year, they're already at 66, so they are right on pace to, once again, have over 110 penalties again this football season, and that is something that is a cause for concern. In order for them to get to where they need to be, they have to be more disciplined. If they're going to go out and win 5 of the 8 next games or whatever they do in the second half, they cannot continue to shoot themselves in the foot and bring themselves back, right? And a great example of who the Green Bay Packers are when they're at their worst is the 30 yards of penalties they got when Brian Branch got ejected from the football game, got 2 personal fouls. You were gifted an opportunity to have momentum, put points on the board, and immediately the next play after all that stuff happened, you had a false start penalty, a pre-snap penalty, which brought you back to 4th and 15 and put you behind the chains even more. And so that is what the Green Bay Packers have been this year, and that's what penalties can do. They are drive killers. When you get to the playoffs, you want to minimize the amount of things that are negative plays, and penalties are something that are going to put you behind the chains and cannot allow for you to be as successful as you want to be.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I want to go back to something you said a bit earlier. Your biggest, I don't want to say concern, but your biggest point on the Packers and how they can turn this thing around, and not to say they need to turn it around, right? 6-3 is still a good start. I'm not knocking that, but the NFC is competitive. 6-3 is good for the 7 seed in the NFC right now as it stands through 9 weeks of the NFL season.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying it. I don't want the Packers to be the 7 seed again. I would like to see them win the division, get some games at Lambeau Field. I know they've been successful on the road in the playoffs in recent history, but I'd rather be in a more comfortable position than the 7 seed in the NFC.
See, the negative thing about this, and it's not negative towards you, but the thing that the drawback of the fact that the Lions are as good as they are, if you're not the 1st seed, you only have an option to basically be 5 through 7, right? And so so overall, the Packers, if you don't win the division, you're going to be a wild card football team, which means more likely than not, you're going to be on the road the entire playoffs unless some miracle happens and a 6 or 7 seed ends up matching up against you have the lower 3 seeds are matching up in the NFC Championship game. But Strofe, right now, the Green Bay Packers, it's win the division or get ready to have going on the road to win a championship. Now, some may say, getting a 7 seed makes your road much harder to get through a 2 seed than versus trying to get through a 4 seed or a 3 seed. But at the end of the day, all these playoff teams are going to be close to the same level. I don't care if it's a 5 seed, 6 seed, or 7 seed. Once the Packers make the playoffs, to me, it's all about how are they playing in that moment. If they're playing like they did last year to end the season, then I feel very confident about their chances in the playoffs. If they're playing football, but they get the 5 seed, then it may end up like the Philadelphia Eagles, who go down to Tampa last year and get absolutely beat down.
Yeah, look, you don't want to be peaking at the right time. And I'm not claiming any team in the NFC is. I think the Lions are just that good, that they are playing really good football at 7-1. They've won 6 in a row, have the Detroit Lions, including last week, over the Green Bay Packers. So by no means am I claiming they're peaking at the right time. But I want my football team playing their best football in December and January. We saw that last year from the Packers, right? They go to Dallas. They smoke the 2 seed in the NFC. Then they go to San Francisco. They have the eventual NFC champions on the ropes. I have hope they can get it going again. They can clean up some of the self-inflicted wounds like drop passes and penalties. Jordan Love can minimize the turnovers and continue to raise his efficiency and be the dude we saw a year ago in the second half of the season. That's the hope. Is it a guarantee? Of course not. And like I said earlier, I think I just don't have my rebound to look forward to this weekend. So it's setting in that the Packers, once again, and they never do, didn't make a move at the trade deadline. They lost to the best team in the NFC last weekend. I'm just feeling a little nervous about the remainder of the season for the Green Bay Packers.
I
still think they're a playoff team. I believe.
You don't believe in the Green Bay Packers. Like, you don't believe. See,
why do we have to do extremism?
No, it's not extremism.
Just because I'm holding them accountable for the expectations I have doesn't mean I don't believe in them.
No, it's not extremism.
Yes, it is.
It's listening to what you're saying. All I'm doing is breaking down what you're saying.
Dramatization.
No. I'm just breaking down what you're saying, and based off your mood and based off the fact that you don't believe in the Green Bay Packers, that you're concerned about how well they're going to be in the playoffs, or concerned about how well they're going to play in the second half, which to me means that you are nervous that they may not even get the 7th seed. It just shows that you don't have confidence in this football team. I have full confidence that this football team can pull out 5 wins this year. They can pull out 5 more wins this season, which again gets them to 11 wins and also gives me some money.
Not good enough to win the division.
No, it won't be. This year, with the way that the Lions are playing, the Lions are probably going to win 12, 13 games. They are. Unless something drastic happens, they're going to win 12, 13 games. They're already at, 7 now?
Yeah, 7-1.
Yeah, no, they're a very talented football team. They're only going to lose because 13-4 is their record. 13-4 what they can go now, right?
Yeah.
They can do that. They'll lose probably 3 games, maybe.
You still have faith the Packers can go on the road to Detroit later in the season and win on a Thursday night?
Why would I not?
All right, well said. Well said. It's a full week of rest, by the way, for both the Packers and the Lions. They both play on Thanksgiving, and then that following Thursday night is when the Packers will play Detroit, December 5th. The date of that matchup. And hopefully they look a little bit different than they did this past weekend against the Detroit Lions. Drama queen and optimist Kyle Wallace, Alex Strope hanging out with you.
Wait. You're the drama queen, not me.
Hanging out with you live at X Golf at AmFam Field. Line them up. It's go time for over-under. We need caller 6, caller 9 right now. Chris Larson, our producer for the day, is back at the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio. He has a topic. He has an over-under line. We will have 3 minutes to get as many right as we can. Caller 6, you can pick whether you're on the over or the under. Caller 9, you're stuck on the other side. The winner will get a $25 gift card. Caller 6, caller 9 right now. 800-990-3776. 800-990-3776. Caller 6, caller 9. We play over-under on the other side. It's Kyle Bruston-Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman.
These hands are not made for fixing anything in a house. I'll make a phone call, and I'm cheap, but I ain't that cheap. I got my guys. Got my handyman. Shout out to Chris. Under the table.
Just like that, dude's getting audited now.
Yeah.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. On this show, it's always football season.
And your argument was that the coaches wanted him to return it.
Yeah, I think,
and he very clearly said no.
They wanted him to take it to the house.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Play the results, are we?
That's what coaches do sometimes, yeah.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Confidence and strength begin with how you feel. At Quintessa Aesthetic Center, it is not about just looking good. It's about results that last and empower you. With 5 convenient locations in Delafield, Mequon, Brookfield, Middleton, and Sheboygan, their team of world-class plastic surgeons, skilled clinicians, and expert estheticians are here to help you take control. Whether it's advanced skincare, anti-aging treatments, body contouring, or muscle strengthening, Quintessa has everything you need to sharpen your image and boost your confidence. Take the first step towards a stronger, more confident you. Visit myquintessa.com today.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at 28 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that was voted Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
The Packers weren't buyers at the NFL trade deadline. Instead, they sent defensive end Preston Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 7th-round draft pick. With Smith's departure, youngsters Aaron Mosby and Brenton Cox are in position to see more playing time, according to general manager Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah, we're excited to see both those guys, see some more snaps. I think certainly they've earned it. I thought they did a really nice job in training camp, and they've continued that through practice. Allowing these two guys to get on the field a little bit, maybe some snaps to go to some other guys too, I think will help us.
This has been your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank.
Need to find that perfect home? Don't sell. Upgrade with a home equity loan. Renovate that kitchen. Retile that bath. You choose the fixtures. Let us do the math. Tri-City National Bank. Equal housing lender. NMLS 433891.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Head to Menards right now to save big money on your next lighting project. Check out our great selection of Lutron lighting controls. LED plus dimmer switches are designed to match your existing switches and are easy to install. Create the perfect lighting for your home. Save big money right now on Lutron lighting controls in store and view all of our great deals happening this week on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I don't need all of your time. I only need
Kyle Brust and Nortman rolls on live from X Golf at American Family Field. Alex Drove, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you. Talking a lot about the Packers, which we will get back into in the 3 o'clock hour, but it is time now to play a little over-under here on Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Will the guys hit the over or will they disappoint? It's time for Over-Under on Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Here's how over-under works. Chris Larson has picked a category and set an over-under line of how many Kyle and I can get right in 3 minutes. Caller 6 had the opportunity to pick either the over or the under. Caller 6 did pick the over. They believe in us. Caller 6... Dirty Diana.
Hey, I was curious it was Dirty D. Hey, Dirty D, good to have you back.
Diana in Muckwanego. Caller 6 is on the over, and representing the royal family on the under is Mike in Franklin. Mike and family seemingly get in every week. So Mike and Franklin, caller 9 on the under. Diana in Muckwanego, caller 6 on the over. It is time now to turn it over to Chris Larson to find out our category and the over-under line.
All right, guys, today's category, Jordan Love, obviously throwing a lot of interceptions this season. He's got a league-leading 10 picks this year. I want to know, who are the top 10 current NFL quarterbacks with the most career interceptions? The top 10 current NFL quarterbacks with the most career interceptions. The over-under is set for 6.5.
Okay, we're ready to go when you are, Chris.
Timer in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so let's just think of old quarterbacks for a moment. Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw a lot. Oh, Joe Flacco, absolutely. He's old.
Flacco, Stafford, Rodgers.
I'll be the final answer, guys. So let's do those two for sure. Let's go Joe Flacco, final answer. Chris, Joe Flacco, final answer.
Well,
there it
Joe
is.
Flacco, number 2 on the list, 157 career picks.
Okay, 157. Let's go Matthew Stafford, final answer.
Matthew Stafford, number 1 on the list with 186 career picks.
186.
Kirk Cousins should be on that list.
Yeah, I feel good about Cousins.
Let's
Let's just think some names for a second. You think Jared Goff's been around long enough?
We'll have him on that list. He's been, he was in the Super Bowl years ago.
Right. I'm just trying to go around the divisions quick. Geno Smith is leading the league right now, but has he started enough?
Andy Dalton.
Dalton is still in the league. That's a good point.
I'm trying to think of some backups.
I'm going to throw Geno on my list, but that's not a final.
2
Your mind's in the right
minutes.
spot. I don't think Baker Mayfield's been around long enough. Aaron Rodgers is but that's a big number.
No,
man.
he should be. He's
played plenty football though. He's got to be on this list. All right, I'm going to start rattling some off. You're good with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
All right, Kirk Cousins, final answer.
Kirk Cousins, number 4 on the list with 117 career interceptions.
Oh, that's okay. Then I feel good about Aaron Rodgers. You good with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, go with
Aaron Rodgers, final answer.
Aaron Rodgers, number 6 on the list with 112 career interceptions.
It's actually insane how efficient he's been.
I have Josh Allen on this list because he's
but he's only been around since 2018. That's only 6 seasons.
But I mean, you go through all the divisions. You think about the NFC East. You know, you have some younger quarterbacks there.
Right.
Russell Wilson might be on
that's
this
a great
list.
idea, actually. I like Wilson. I like a lot of these names we have. You just want to start firing them?
Yeah, well, we can try Russell Wilson.
Let's do it. Russell Wilson, final answer.
Russell Wilson, number 8 on the list with 106 career interceptions.
Okay, so we have 5 correct right now. Stafford, Flacco, Cousins, Rodgers, Wilson. We need 2 more to win, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go Andy Dalton, final answer.
Andy Dalton, number 3 on the list with 150 career interceptions.
Dang!
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
I mean, he started for a while in Cincinnati.
All right, let's go for the win with the tied lead leaguer with Jordan Love. I don't know if that's a phrase. Geno Smith of the Seattle Seahawks, final answer for the win. Oh, Geno.
30 seconds.
How many can we miss?
We only need 1 more. I think we can miss 2 more.
Because Jameis Winston hasn't started enough games.
I don't hate that though. Let's go with it. We got some room.
It'd be Winston, Goff, and Allen for me.
All right, Jameis Winston, final answer.
Jameis Winston,
Nice.
number 9 on the list with 102 career
9.
interceptions.
Okay, how
Josh
about
Allen?
Josh Allen on that list?
Oh,
And then Jared Goff was our last name.
Jared Goff, number 10
Nice.
on the list with 86 career interceptions.
It's a good win, Kyle. That's a good list.
We
That's a good list, Kyle.
And the only
We
one,
locked
the
in.
2 you're missing are Ryan Tannehill, number 5,
Oh,
with
sure.
115 career
Who does he
picks.
play with?
He's not active. I didn't think of him.
And number
I guess he's technically
he's
active.
technically active, yeah. And number 7 on the list, Derek Carr with 111 interceptions.
Sure. Absolutely.
I New Orleans popped in my head, but I kept going because I said, Drew Brees? No, not Drew Brees. I kept it moving.
Well, there you go. Thanks for believing in us, and enjoy your gift card, Diana and McWanago.
Yeah, she chose us, right?
She did. She was on the right side of history.
I had to do it for you, Dirty D.
Yeah. A name that I thought of that wasn't on it, Dak Prescott.
I had Dak on my list potentially, but yeah, he's probably up there. Jared Goff has been good then, right?
Yeah, I was surprised to not hear. Oh, no, he was on the list.
Oh, he was? Goff
Geno
was on the list?
Smith just probably hasn't started enough games.
Yeah, because remember, he didn't have much of a career
but
with the Jets.
He started in New York.
That's it. And then after that,
he's been in
bounced.
Seattle now, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
He just hasn't had enough games played.
Okay.
Man, Jameis Winston could turn the ball over.
Yeah, he can, man. Remember his 30 for 30 season?
Man.
30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions in Tampa Bay. I like that he's getting a second shot in Cleveland now.
Me too.
He's a likable guy. All right, there you go. Over-under in the
Great
bag.
at giving speeches.
Yeah, he is. One of few people in history to reference. Who did he reference the other day? He referenced Jesus and somebody else. Oh, and Eminem in the same post-game speech.
that sounds like him. Because like he said, my trainer told me, what'd he tell me? He just told me, go ahead and work hard. Love me some Jameis.
God, I love Jameis. All right, we roll on after this. Live from X Golf at AmFam Field. It's Kyle Brunson, Norman, Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you. Tune into the Thanalysis Show every week, presented by Gruber Law Offices. Thanasis at Tennecumpa hangs out with special guests for fun and even surprising conversations. Maybe it's his live show with Giannis, a chat with Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love, getting the inside scoop on fighting with Logan Paul, or any one of TA's unique guests. Find Thanalysis Show on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcast. Plus, you can subscribe to Thanalysis Show on YouTube to see exclusive video content from Thanasis. Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe, continue with you. Hour 2 of KBN right on the other side here on ESPN Wisconsin.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta here. 'Tis the season for celebrating at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Join them this holiday season for special events to get you in the festive mood. From a spectacular brunch with Santa to the holiday marketplace and one-of-a-kind dinner and a show experiences, St. Kate has a celebration happening nearly every week through the holiday season. Make a night of it and extend the experience by booking an overnight stay at St. Kate. Special packages are now available. Celebrate the holidays with St. Kate. Learn more by visiting stkatearts.com/holidays.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nordman, KBN on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and streaming live at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Kyle Bruston Nortman live from X Golf at American Family Field. Stand up to cancer, upper deck golf. Golf balls spraying all over AmFam Field right now for a good cause. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you until 5 o'clock tonight on ESPN Milwaukee, with you until 4, ESPN Beaver Dam and ESPN Madison. Look, it's not like I'm a doubter. I'm not a hater. I'm not doubting the Packers' ability to win football games and evolve into a really good team in the NFL. But I came into the season with Super Bowl and championship expectations.
Oh, that was the expectation.
This year, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was your expectation. That was my hope.
What was your expectation?
NFC Championship game.
Okay.
I was hoping for a championship.
This is certainly still a team that can get there. But when you saw what you did a year ago, and you know you're returning a majority of that roster, in the offseason you upgrade by adding 2 huge additions to this team, Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs. You see some draft picks competing really well and playing really well, like Evan Williams, who's been one of the anchors of the Packers defense this season. You know, it's hard for your head as a fan not to go to the place. And you and I are the 2 big fans of this show, right? Like, it's hard for my head not to go to a place of, oh boy, this team can win it all, right? Seeing them beat up on some of the teams they did and then beating a team like the Houston Texans. But last Sunday served as almost a, hey, Strophy, let's bring you back down to earth a little bit moment, right? You know, they're not quite to the Lions level. They don't make a move at the deadline, and here we are entering the bye week at 6-3 and technically the 7 seed in the NFC. It just has me pondering, this team is mathematically, Kyle, this team, and I know you hate when I say this, but mathematically, this team is closer to missing the playoffs than winning the division.
Cool. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's the one thing I hate about, like, statistics and numbers. And I know I said this earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, is the one thing I hate about numbers is that numbers don't actually play the game. It's just, this percentage to do this. Or the Green Bay Packers were 3-6 last year. I guarantee you the percentage of making the playoffs. As a matter of fact, Brad had, like, a number of how likely it is. It was probably Packers at this point last year had probably less than a 15% chance to make the playoffs. Oh, there was no team that started this way to finish. Like, I'm sure there's all type of numbers and statistics, but at the end of the day, it's about understanding the talent that this football team has. And I get it. The Green Bay Packers are 0-2 in the division. But all it takes right now is for the Packers to win the next 4, the Lions to drop 2, and 1 being to the Packers, maybe 1 being to the Bears. Because I think they lost to the Bears last year late in the season. I think the Lions dropped again. And so it's a different season, but it's definitely possible. So it is not out of the realm of possibility that the Green Bay Packers can still win the NFC North. But I don't like the talk. I don't like the conversation. I don't like you bringing up the fact that they are closer than to not making the playoffs than to actually making the playoffs, when I believe the teams that they may be tied with have a similar record, don't they? The 5 and the 6?
The Philadelphia Eagles. And the Minnesota Vikings,
and
two teams that have beat them.
But all it takes is 1 loss or 2 losses by them. And it does not take much to shift exactly what you think. Just last week, going into the game against the Lions, when you looked at the power rankings, where were the Green Bay Packers ranked in the power rankings in the NFL?
They were top 5. I don't remember.
I think they were number 4. They were top 5 last year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Last week, they were projected as the second best team in the NFC. But now we're like, oh my gosh, they may not make the playoffs. They're closer to not the playoffs.
They are.
It is 100% based off. It's a week-to-week type of league, and I understand.
I don't argue
when
with.
we say week-to-week, we say, we panic because of what we see, but I don't like to panic like that because I understand all it takes is for the Packers to go on a 3-game winning streak, the Lions to lose 2, and next thing you know, we're talking about how the Packers are right there with the Lions, or the Vikings to lose 2, and now the Packers are the 5 seed, right? Like, that's all it takes. 2-3 weeks, it can change the picture of what the playoffs look like. Just like this week, the Packers went from the second-best team in the NFC to now we're talking about how they may not make the playoffs, and maybe the Commanders are better. The Eagles are getting really hot right now. They might be better than the Packers. Oh, those Minnesota Vikings, they may have lost a couple games, but they're still good. Like, it changes week to week. This ain't the time to panic, and this is not the time to be talking about we ain't going to make the playoffs.
I do want to open the talk and text line up. We do have Jason Wilde coming up in about 8 minutes, but we've got a few minutes to take some phone calls, read some text messages. What's your biggest concern for the Packers? Right? This team clearly isn't perfect, so you've got to have something. Kyle, remind us again, what is your biggest concern for the Packers through 9 games?
My biggest concern for the Green Bay Packers right now, based off the 4 things that we put up, there will be penalties. It is penalties for the Green Bay Packers because of the fact that is something that is not easily cleaned up. We spoke to Bryan Bulaga. He told us that's on the players, and we may not have the guys to have the discipline to be able to not make those penalties based off what the Packers track record is with historically being a highly penalized team last year and now again this year.
My biggest concern for the Packers through 9 weeks is Jordan Love's turnovers and Jordan Love's inconsistencies. While Jordan Love has made some really damn good plays, and I think he is a damn good quarterback in the National Football League, leading the league in interceptions while missing 2.5 games isn't a great mark of your efficiency offensively. When you look at the other quarterback Sunday who Jordan Love played, Jared Goff, he has been the most efficient quarterback in football. He has thrown 30 straight completions to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah. 0 incompletions in his directions, which is an absurd stat and deserves unbelievable praise. But Jordan Love was the second-best quarterback in that game. Not just yesterday, but overall in terms of their career. Jared Goff is ahead of Jordan Love in terms of quarterbacking in the NFL. I don't think that will be the story for the entirety of Jordan Love's career. But this season has not helped that narrative. Right now, Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Jordan Love in the NFL.
I agree. We're not talking about potential. We're not talking about the ceiling. We're talking about actual facts. We're talking about what we have seen on the football field. And again, I am a guy that likes to focus on what we have actually seen to create my opinion on the football game. And for me, it has been clear that Jared Goff has been not only the best quarterback between the Packers and the Lions, but he's been, if not the best and most consistent quarterback in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes ain't having the superstar year that he's had. Other than Lamar Jackson, I'll probably put it right there with Jared Goff being the second best quarterback in the NFL so far this year.
800-990-3776 is your way into Kyle Bruston-Nortman, live from X-Golf at American Family Field. Steven in Milwaukee says, penalties, penalties, penalties.
Listen, I agree. I agree.
He listened.
I agree. I think this is something that a lot of fans should be concerned about, but I think it speaks to the confidence, Strofe, right? And I don't mean to knock you. I'm not going to knock you, Strofe, but I call you a pessimist for a reason, is that some people focus on the negative, and I think you focus on the negative of players, but I feel like that is something that is so controllable for Jordan Love to be a better decision maker. Like, that's something that he can absolutely improve upon. And I also think it speaks to the level of belief that you have in Jordan Love to be better, to be a better decision maker. Overall, the penalties are concerning because we believe that it's a fabric of their identity. Strofe, you need to be more like Packer Nation, where we believe in Jordan Love. Unlike you believing in Jordan.
I just said I believe he can be a damn good quarterback in the National Football League. Verbatim what I just said.
Then it shouldn't be your number one concern about his turnovers.
I think it finally was the straw that broke the camel's back this past weekend. It's the reason they lost that game. Biggest reason.
Maybe I'm just making excuses for Jordan Love, and to let me know if I am. But I just feel like he already is a poor decision maker. And then when you put him in a high-stress situation where he's already injured and he's panicking, you put him in a bad position. I just think Matt LaFleur and this Green Bay Packers football team put Jordan Love in a very bad position last week, and you allow for him to make a decision on his health, knowing the guy's a gamer, knowing he wants to go out there and play, knowing he wants to lead his team in a huge divisional game. He's going to say, yeah, I'm going to give it a try. And I do not feel like they put the Packers team in the best position to win last week when your quarterback was clearly hampered by his injury to his groin.
Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe hanging out with you here on Kyle Preston Nortman, 800-990-3776, asking you your biggest concern for the Packers as they enter their bye week here in week number 10 of the NFL season. Loving football in the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat says, when are we going to have the real discussion? The construct of the Packers the last 30 years has been to keep and maintain a playoff team, not to ever have a Super Bowl team. And that's what we have in 2024.
Yeah, no, I think the Green Bay Packers definitely are missing the key piece to be a Super Bowl team overall.
What is the key piece?
For me, the key piece is, honestly, I know we're talking about penalties, but I just don't think they have the horses on defense and specifically the defensive line to win a Super Bowl.
Do you think they thought obviously they signed Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary and Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney to these massive contracts. When you look at the payroll and you look at the contracts that have been cut and signed, the pay stubs that have been cut by the Packers, it makes it seem like they've got the dogs on defense.
No, I mean, it makes it seem like it, and money don't really tell the picture of what the reality is. And unfortunately, as Brad had talked about earlier this week, the Packers have just made bad investments, right?
Yeah.
That is they're Enron, right? I mean, that was so long ago.
That was a wild reference.
I remember them. I remember Enron crashing back in like the early 2000s, or maybe early 2000s. But the Green Bay Packers defensive line, they just have not been a good stock to buy in, right? They haven't. The guys that you've invested money in have not popped. And the issue that I have, and again, I said that he could scheme up something. But scheming up may not get you to a championship because you don't have the guys on the D-line. But the biggest issue I have with the Green Bay Packers D-line right now is that the guys that you are paying to be dogs, the guys you are paying to be stars, are not separating themselves from the guys that are on rookie contracts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is something that bothers me the most. And I understand when you watch the film, obviously Kenny Clark is probably being double-teamed. Guys are probably chipping and helping out on Rashawn Gary. But there's sometimes where I see other studs from other teams still make plays, having to deal with that, right? We can't make excuses for this defensive line not winning their one-on-one battles. The win rate for Rashawn Gary earlier this year was pathetic. It was low, right? And so we just got to get more production out of that D-line. They have to be able to get pressure with four for this defense to truly be a championship caliber defense.
Yeah, the answer to this poll is probably all of the above, right? Interceptions, dropped passes, penalties, and pass rush. LJ on Twitter responds yes to the poll.
I mean, that's a good response.
Of which one concerns you both. You mentioned bad investments. I'll tell you, Kyle, what's never a bad investment is from our friends at Underdog and UnderdogFantasy.com.
There is never a bad investment for our friends at Underdog. I know you play Underdog and have fun with Underdog. And so let me tell you why me and Strofe love Underdog. We love Underdog because it's so easy to sign up for. All you got to do is go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go to the Underdog Fantasy Sports app in your iPhone or your Android. You go into your phone app, you download it, and then you have it right there at the tip of your fingers, an opportunity to watch sports, but also play Underdog Fantasy Sports and win up to $1,000 in money. Yes, $1,000 in money you could win on the Underdog Fantasy Sports app. If you think you know sports, if you think you know what player is going to have higher or lower than points scored in the game, if you think you know what player is going to have higher or lower than assists, then you need to be playing the Underdog Fantasy Sports app, where you can win up to 1,000 times your money. And it's so easy to sign up for. Again, go to the UnderdogFantasy.com or the Underdog Fantasy Sports app. And when you do that, sign up using promo code KBN. That is promo code KBN, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Yes, up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly when you deposit on the Underdog Fantasy Sports app using promo code KBN. That is promo code KBN. I'm telling y'all, you can thank me now or thank me later, but when you sign up for Underdog, you'll always be thanking me. And remember, you must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
We get the latest from all things green and gold up in Green Bay. Our pal Jason Wilde, the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, joins us next. It's Kyle Bruston-Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman, KBN.
I said, baby, we got to do more sucking. And so I called the company. I said, listen, y'all put this thing in here. Y'all need to come on
ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We are seeing some delays westbound 94 from about 16th Street all the way to about Mitchell Boulevard. Also on the ramp from westbound 94 to southbound 894 in the zoo, we have the right lane blocked on that ramp because of a broken down vehicle. So just watch out for that. Southbound on 41 slowing down from just south of Appleton Avenue to Capitol, and southbound 43 between Hampton and Capitol. Going to be that slow spot there. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly clear, a low of 41 at the lake, 35 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 58. Weather is brought to you by Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center in Waukesha. Always have a slice of summer by playing Pro Tour courses on one of their 12 simulators. Book a bay for just $35 Monday through Thursday. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be.
Kringle
I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry. Are you guys being serious? You guys can't put two and two
I got it. I could not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnover. Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you too, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts? Make them wider.
Gina Della from Pella, how'd you get into the booth?
And why just yellow? Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, you can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want.
Right now, get 0% interest for 60 months.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Hold your appointment on or before November 8th. Certain restrictions apply.
True Chicago-style pizza is thin, crispy, and cut into squares. And thanks to Connie's Frozen Pizza, you can enjoy a true slice of the city. You'll enjoy it so much you won't even mind where it comes from. Connie's Frozen Pizzas are made from the same cornmeal crust Connie's has been serving for over 60 years. They're perfectly cheesy, perfectly saucy, and they're exactly what you crave. Get to know the true Chicago style with Connie's Frozen Pizza. Born in Chicago, loved by cheeseheads. Available in a freezer aisle near you.
Have you seen them yet?
Seen what?
4 different ways to say I love you.
I'd love to see those. Show me the list. What list? The list of 4 different ways to say I love you.
Let's start over.
Where are you going, Monica?
I'm going to get the 4 different ways to say I love you.
Sarah, imagine a box of assorted chocolates.
Okay.
When you open the lid, what do you see?
I see a guy sitting on a park bench saying, life is like a box of chocolates.
But what are the shapes of the chocolates?
There are 4 different shapes.
Here they are.
Those are gorgeous.
4 diamond pendants covered in diamonds.
Almost like they were dipped in diamonds.
And each diamond was created inside a miniature star.
But you'd have to be rich to afford one of these.
Choose the diamond pendant you like best. $148.
I love Kessler's.
Everyone loves Kessler's.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Get ready, Badger fans. Wisconsin men's hockey is back for the 24-25 season at the Kohl Center. After last year's breakout success, head coach Mike Hastings and the Badgers are looking to keep the momentum going, and you can be part of it. Don't miss out on securing the best seats in the house. Whether you're looking for single game, 4-game mini pack, or group tickets, we've got you covered. For more information and to secure your Badger men's hockey tickets, visit uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS. uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year.
How can a proud alumnus say such slanderous, blasphemous things?
Holding everybody accountable.
I don't remember you as a great passer, quite frankly. Hey-o.
Jason Wilde is on Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Tell me now, do you want it? 'Cause these dancing feet don't cry to the rhythm they cry for you.
Jason Wilde time on Kyle Brust and Nortman. Alex Stroh, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you live from X Golf at AmFam Field. He didn't do Wilde and Tausch today, but he's doing Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Really?
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Jason.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Why is everybody at AmFam today?
Well, there's a Stand Up to Cancer Upper Deck Golf Initiative, so there are holes all over AmFam Field, and there are 9 driving locations around the 400 levels where you can tee off and you hit balls, and it's for a good cause and stand up to cancer.
Have you hit any balls at this juncture?
We have not yet. I believe the plan is to tee off at one point. We will not be participating in the full 9 holes after the show because both of us have to leave, but we do plan on teeing off at some point.
Ooh, all right. Well, good luck. Hit them straight.
Thank you. We won't. We are
I
about
try to hit them long. It's about the long. Dig the long ball, Jason. They don't care about.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, what did you just say?
Chicks dig the long
There
ball.
we go. It sounded right that time.
Sorry. I almost said something too
not
crazy.
what he said.
That is definitely not what he said the first time
What did
around.
I say?
I can't repeat what you said on the radio.
Oh, no.
It's typically a shortened name for Richard.
Oh, no.
Is certainly what just came out of your mouth.
It was an accident. It was an accident.
And long in front of it? I mean, come on, Kyle.
If I'm not on air
well.
tomorrow, KBN Nation, I probably
Yeah, solo Strofe tomorrow on a Friday, apparently.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. All right, Jason, let's dive into this. We talked about this a bit this morning on Kyle, or on Weekly Wilde, rather, but I want to talk about it now on Kyle Brust and Nortman. I think all of us kind of have the feeling walking away from Tuesday's trade deadline. The Packers on paper aren't better, but I don't think they're necessarily worse following the departure of Preston Smith, who was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple days removed from that move, what's your pulse on this?
Yeah, we did talk about this on. Maybe we should rename the show "Long Richard" in honor of.
Let's not do that. Nope.
I have already messed up, so I have no comment.
Good decision. We did talk about that on Weekly Wilde, and I think it's an interesting view for you because I think you're right. And a lot of times you have interesting views that are ridiculous. I don't think they're. I definitely don't think they're worse off. Now, could they be worse off? And Goody acknowledged this, so this is not something that he's not aware of. But could they be worse off if you suddenly have a rash of injuries, right, at defensive end? Because you're basically counting now on Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, who I would think would be the opposite side of Gary in the starting unit. And then I would think LVN would be third. Then you've got Aaron Mosby. Don't you think?
No, I know. I agree with you. I think that's disappointing.
I figured LVN would be the other starter.
Well, I mean, that'd be disappointing if your first-round draft pick is being outplayed by a 4th or 5th-round pick from 3 seasons ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Enegbare's been better, and they do run a meritocracy over there, so he belongs, in my opinion, in the lineup first. Now, they've got Carl Brooks, who can be a little versatile and can go outside, but otherwise it's Aaron Mosby and then Brenton Cox, who has yet to be active for a game this season. So, you lose a couple of guys off the top of that depth chart somehow, and obviously, let's remember, Rashawn Gary missed half of a season with a torn ACL, so there's no guarantee there. We thought that Enagbare was going to be sidelined after what we thought was an ACL tear and what we were told was an ACL tear in the Cowboys playoff game.
That's
so,
right, yeah.
As Goody said, your depth can disappear quickly, and then you're asking yourself, maybe this wasn't such a good idea to trade Preston Smith. So, again, I don't think it'll come to that necessarily, but I agree with Strofe, which we should use that as a hotkey button at some point.
Wow.
I think you're right. I don't think they're better, but I definitely don't think they're worse.
Would that mean that your belief in, I believe it's Brenton Cox Jr. and Aaron Mosby, would that make you believe that you don't have much confidence in those guys coming along the way that Goody does?
No, I think he feels like they've got to get some opportunities, right? I mean, these are guys that have barely played. Aaron Mosby had the half sack against the Lions. He had played two previous snaps on defense before that. 2. That's it. And now he's up to a whole 7. So he's going to get some more opportunities than he's had. Yeah, huge jump. But so what I'm saying is that, those guys are both clearly very unproven commodities. The reason why I'm with Strofe on this is not only did we find out that Preston Smith wasn't very happy in the new system and didn't think it was a good fit for him, but we also obviously, have seen his playing time dwindle and his production dwindle. And so, he's got 0 sacks and 2 pressures over the last 4 games. That ain't good. And so if those are his numbers, I don't think it takes a whole lot for any of the 2 guys that we've never heard of largely to come in and be productive, because that's not very productive. So, again, I would, what's weird about this, and I totally acknowledge it, is that we're talking about a position that, in my opinion, the defensive line as a whole has been the most disappointing position so far this season. And you traded away the most experienced guy at the position, and yet Strofe and I are out here saying that it doesn't really matter. So
will that hurt the locker room, Jason? Do you think the locker room will be impacted by the loss? Okay, that's good to know. That makes me feel really confident.
The nugget that he requested a trade is interesting to me. I know it was because of the scheme, but I imagine it wouldn't have a huge impact. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, no, you're fine. But I do think it's also instructive that, there were a couple of guys that I saw posting on social media, and certainly they like him as a teammate. Yeah. Like there's no denying he was respected. So I don't want to make it sound like, they traded him and nobody cares. I will say that when Zadarius Smith finally had his malcontent season run its course, missed a crucial tackle in that playoff game against the 49ers, and then was on his merry way to get guaranteed money somewhere else. And if I recall correctly, and after they cut him, he agreed to terms with one team, and then another team had more money to offer him, so then he went to that team. But the only person I remember being disappointed was Preston Smith, because they were really close. But beyond that, I think most guys felt like he had been malingering and that he could have been playing and wasn't, and that rubbed a lot of his teammates the wrong way. Nobody feels that way about Preston Smith. The guy missed 1 game in his Packers career. He was a good Packers player and a good teammate and a good locker room guy. Even though, and let's point this out too, we didn't know he was unhappy, and we didn't know that he requested a trade. Unlike Romeo Doubs, who didn't show up for work. Unlike Jair Alexander, who got himself suspended. Again, Preston Smith is a pro, right? And he didn't make it a big public deal that he was unhappy or disgruntled. And then he got traded to another playoff contender, and he can line up opposite of T.J. Watt, and maybe he'll get some production that he wasn't getting here. But the bottom line is that, that position, when Goody admitted in his response to me that we got to get more production from all those guys, but that includes Rashawn Gary, I thought that was a pretty damning statement, because anybody with eyes can see that group has not been as good as they needed it to be.
Couple more minutes with our pal Jason Wilde, host of Wilde and Tash weekdays 9 to noon. You also read his great work in the Wisconsin State Journal. I say that because, Jason, quick yes or no before I ask you my real question. Aaron Mosby, who we've mentioned a few times, had that sack last weekend. He spells his first name Arron, not Aaron like normal Aaron's. Arron. Does that bother you from a journalistic perspective?
No, it bothers me from the danger of misspelling his name, but he can, his mom decided to spell his name that way. I'm okay with that. It is unusual, and I always think of, even though it doesn't fit because it doesn't fit the correct spelling, the Key and Peele, Aaron. You done screwed up, Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just Aaron.
That's really good.
Hey, Jason, right now me and Strofe have been talking about Jordan Love just because of the fact that that's one of the things that Rob Domofsky wrote about of something that could be concerning going into the second half of the season. Are you confident Jordan Love can turn this thing around?
Are you?
I am. I 100% am. 100%.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, turn it around. Like, let's not make it seem like he's played like god-awful, right? I mean, he's and I really, I know he has. There's no denying that. 10 interceptions in playing 6.5 games is a lot, and I'm not sugarcoating that. I also, I think I've been honest but slightly critical of him for that, and I think it's deserved. The mail must be here. But I would also say this, that he has to stop making the bad decisions at the most inopportune times. And to me, that has been the thing that if you're going to say he has to turn something around, which I think is a fine phrase, I don't have a problem with it, but that definitely has to be turned around. Like, Strofe and I talked about it this morning, too, when we were taping Weekly Wilde. Like, there was not a whole hell of a lot to gain from trying to get that ball to Josh Jacobs. And I totally get it, right? That was a design play for a deep shot to Jaden Reed, who was wide, blank, and open down the field. Unfortunately, by the time he had reached the point where he was turning his head back to look for the ball, Jordan Love was running for his life because the left tackle and left guard, Jordan Morgan and Rasheed Walker, had lost control of each of their guys. And so he was under duress and wasn't able to make the play. Now, here's the thing. So now the play has been blown up. It's been ruined by protection. Don't make a bad play worse by then throwing the pick six into traffic and not seeing Kirby Joseph. Now, I know that Josh Jacobs raised his hand, which is the international signal for I'm open, even when Strofe is playing pickup basketball and wants to ball for a 30-foot three-pointer. But he wasn't open. There was a bunch of people there. And, Jordan Love, for better or for worse, is paid to make better decisions, right? When you get the kind of contract he got, the expectation is for you to be smart enough to chuck the ball out of bounds. And, I get frustrated with folks that think because I was the first one doing this, quite frankly, and I'm not proud of that because it apparently irritates people. But I was the first one to compare him to Favre after the interception in print. I'm sure you guys talked about it after the game right away, but after the L.A. game where he threw the ball into triple coverage to Reed and it worked, and then he threw the ridiculous stumbling, bumbling, fumbling, underhand pick six out of his own end zone as he was landing on his butt on the back line. Like, Dan Orlovsky ran through the back line, he landed on his butt on the back line. Like, that's Favre stuff, good and bad. And in his case, this is not 1997 anymore. Offenses are designed where you don't have to take quite as many risks. And he just needs to know that in that instance, throw it out of bounds. You're out of the pocket. So just as long as you get it to the line of scrimmage, you're in the clear. And instead, and that was the death knell for them in that game. Like, LaFleur flat out admitted it. Like, you go in 10-3, you go in down 10-3, and even if the Lions get the ball on the opening kickoff, which they were going to do, and they do go in and score to make it 17-3, not insurmountable. Throw the pick six, go into halftime, 17-3. They score on the opening drive. And now you're down 3 touchdowns. It's all she wrote.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Jason was excellent today.
Who said we're done with him?
Oh, we're not? Okay.
No, we are. Well, I real quick, before we let you go, Jason, something I haven't asked you this week that I'm just curious
real
on.
Quick.
The Packers, I think it will be. The Packers kicked a field goal in that game. I still haven't let this go. They were down 21. They made it 21, and they cut it to 18. They made a 3-possession game on 4th and goal. Did anybody ask LaFleur about that decision?
So wait a minute. They made it. It was
24-3. It was 24-3. They kicked a field goal. I think it was either the end of the third quarter or beginning of the fourth quarter to make it 24-6. So they made a 21-point game, an 18-point game, which made a 3-possession game a 3-possession game on 4. It was 4th and 16, but it was 4th and goal. So I was curious on that decision.
Well, so then if it becomes 18, right? Then it's a get a touchdown. If it's let me see if I'm doing the math correctly. If they go for it and fail, it's still a 3-possession game where you need 3 touchdowns. If they kick the field goal there and you've cut it to 18, it's 2 touchdowns now, right? So that's 14.
Yep.
Somewhere in there's got to be a 2-point conversion.
So it's 15.
And then you could tie with a field goal at like the buzzer if you get the ball back and you want Brandon McManus to try a 68-yarder in the pouring rain. I mean, if it's anything less than 4th and 16, 4th and goal from the 16, he probably goes for the touchdown, right? Like he probably if it's 4th and 10,
I don't know.
4th and 8.
Based on that decision, I don't know the answer.
Does, but nobody asked. We were all too busy trying to figure out why the heck a guy who threw 1 interception over a 9-game span, including the tour de force performance in the playoff game against the Cowboys, has now thrown 10 interceptions in a 6.5-game span.
No, it's completely fair. All right, Kyle, you can say it now.
Jason, this was amazing. Incredible. Great stuff. He agreed with me quite a bit. We're on the same page. That's how I judge it, Jason.
Yeah, all it took was getting
based off what I like.
Well, and all it took was getting Brust out of the equation. I mean, Brad, I don't think would have gummed up the works much, but I feel like I was gummed up the works. Yeah, well, only one of us used inappropriate language, and good news is it wasn't me. So
and you know what? It was an accident. But Ben's a Little Richard sometimes, isn't he?
Well, I love Little Richard, underrated.
Tutti Frutti.
Little Richard.
Rudy. Since I've got you and Tausch loves to plan things on the air, is there a Sunday Karma on Sunday?
Ooh, that's a good question. I believe there is. I am actually out of town on Sunday, but I believe there is because I had to tell executive producer Ashton Rotman to take me off the schedule. So I believe as of right now there is a Sunday Karma on Sunday, Jason.
All right. Well, I look forward to joining Craig.
You guys got anything else to cover on this conference call? Anything else you want to get in quick?
Well, I do want to put out there.
Yeah, I do want to ask Jason. Ahead, Jason, are you good for 5:15 with Homer today?
I am.
That is perfect, Chris.
Well done.
Bye, Jason.
Chris Larson. On that note, take care. Be good. Bye.
He was fired.
Great pop by Chris Larson. That was really good. All right. Oh, man. All right, we'll get to Chris Larson on the other side. We'll play some Becoming Relevant, Already Relevant, whatever we call it when Chris Larson is in for me. We do that next. It's Kyle Brust and Nortman live from X Golf at AmFam Field on ESPN, Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Is one of the things that your girlfriend gets upset with is you interrupting her like this?
Probably. I just complimented you. What the hell? Stroh feeds you something in your ear and you Ron Burgundy verbatim what he says? I set you up for something, you jerk.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
we do have backups westbound 94 from about 16th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43 is going to be heavy from before Hampton down to Capitol. Back on the brakes from Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Got an accident now at the end of the ramp from 76th Street to 894 eastbound off on the right shoulder. A couple of box trucks there. Earlier issue that we had that was blocking the right lane of the ramp to get onto 894 southbound from westbound 94 in the zoo has been cleared out of the way. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly clear, a low of 41 at the lake, 35 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. Weather's brought to you by Wisconsin's Indoor Golf Center in Waukesha. Always have a slice of summer by playing Pro Tour courses on one of their 12 simulators. Book a bay for just $35 Monday through Thursday. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Bruston Nortman. I love this time of year. Playoff baseball, the start of hoop season, and of course, football. I'm all about watching the action on the gridiron with a carbless in my hand. Premium, ready-to-drink cocktails with no malt, no carbs, and no sugar. Vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, black raspberry, and lemon lime, and classic cocktail flavors like Paloma or Margarita. Find Carbless at your local grocer and enjoy game day. Carbless. Less is more.
Hey, it's Kyle Walls here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you get 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Call 414-410-2000 to schedule your free in-home estimate today. Winter is almost here, and it's the perfect time to replace those old, drafty windows. For every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. Restrictions apply. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to uwd.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
I'm here with Dr. Daniel Holub at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doctor, let's say someone is feeling some pain. That pain, it just will not go away. What's the next thing that person should do?
Get an appointment with one of the specialists at Orthopedic Associates, and we will work through that problem with you.
In your position, you help people get rid of pain. You help them be able to move and be active again. How rewarding is it for you to really see someone regain a certain quality of life?
That's got to be the best part of my job, is seeing somebody that's been struggling either for a short time with a fresh injury or a long time with a degenerative condition, and being able to find a proper solution for them, whether it's just a rehabilitation process or if it's a surgical process, and watching them over the course of weeks to months improve to the point of enjoying life again.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after the game, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes, no more, no less. Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. If you missed any of the game or just want to relive the biggest moments, Bucks in 6 provides game recaps every morning after. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis or the deep threes from Dame, and catch the comments post-game about what happened on Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now, bucks.com/plus, or on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Kyle Bruston Nortman live from X Golf at American Family Field. The Stand Up to Cancer Upper Deck Golf going on all day today until 9 o'clock here at AmFam Field, raising money for a good cause. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you. Jason was good.
Jason,
what'd you learn?
No, I learned that Jason was the first one to write about his comparison to Brett Favre, according to Jason.
Yep.
And then also I learned that Preston Smith was liked in the locker room, but he wasn't.
You needed that to learn that?
No, but he wasn't seen as an integral part of the locker room, right? And we're here at AmFam Field. Every time a player is traded now who is a veteran, and I feel like is a glue guy of the organization, I think back to when
Josh Hader
got traded and how it impacted this Brewers team, right? So I always think about that. So those are just some little nuggets. And then also overall with Jordan Love, he has confidence that Jordan Love will be able to be A-okay. And that is something
I do
that I
too.
like to hear.
I honestly, it can't be terribly difficult to cut down on some of the interceptions he's thrown.
No, they're boneheaded.
He's made a lot, right? Boneheaded.
They're boneheaded.
Several of them have been.
No.
Some of them are understandable, right? You're going to throw interceptions in the NFL.
You are, but I would say he's thrown. You said 10.
10, yeah.
He's thrown
Leads
10
the league.
interceptions. I would say half were stupid. half were stupid. They were boneheaded, bad throws, bad interceptions, right? Like I think so that's what it comes down to. Is one thing of, somebody jumps a route. It's another thing of just not, making a poor decision trying to force it, right? Rolling out and scrambling and just throwing it out there when you just need to chuck it into the dirt, or in that sense, you don't want to take a safety. Find a way to get out the end.
You know who some have described as boneheaded and stupid? I've never described him that way, but boneheaded, you know who some have described that way?
No, I do not.
Jim Rutledge of Jim Mountain Valley.
100%. That makes sense.
I've never described him that way,
I would,
but some certainly have.
I feel like the some do include Alex Strofe.
Okay, maybe I have once or twice, but mostly I have not
What is
described
your
that way.
relationship? I feel like you
Me
guys
and Jim
have
are friends.
Yeah,
We're friends.
Because I feel like Jim has some. Maybe we'll talk with him about that. I feel like there's some animosity between you, him, and Brust. I like Jim. I don't like his takes, but I like him.
All right, well, we'll talk to said Jim Rutledge from Jim Matt and Molly, leading you into Jim Matt and Molly on ESPN Madison. Jim Rutledge joins us on the other side. It's Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Brust and Nortman
I'm sorry that I don't want to touch Ben's Peter.
on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. On this show, it's always football season.
And your argument was that the coaches wanted him to return it.
Yeah, I think.
And he very clearly said no.
They wanted him to take it to the house.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Play the results, are we?
That's what coaches do sometimes, yeah.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack with a question for those of you betting on sports. Did you miss our great week last week? 5-1 on Sunday. Actually, if you played the soccer and the players props, a 14-4 Sunday got everybody into profit after an 11-4 week in football. Go to FatJackSports.com. If you're betting the games, you can win for less than $100 a week. College basketball's now started, and we are having a huge November. Get signed up today. The plays go to your personal portal and are emailed to you, and they'll make you money. FatJackSports.com to win.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tosher here for my friends at Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services. Family-owned business for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off and 0% interest for 12 months on your Lugstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Do you remember that electric moment when you suddenly realized that she was the one?
The one you were going to love forever.
The one you'd been waiting your whole life to meet.
She is the one.
The one.
Now it's time to find the one engagement ring that sparkles like she does.
Come to Kessler's Diamonds. We have a collection of incredibly special diamond engagement rings called the One Collection.
You need one special engagement ring for the one woman you will ever love.
Kessler's Diamonds is the one jewelry store where you can find the One Collection.
And Kessler's is the one store that offers the world-famous, no excuses, no fine print, lifetime warranty on every diamond engagement ring we sell.
We have the freedom to do this for you because Kessler's Diamonds is the one diamond store owned by its employees.
The One Collection starts at just $550.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Did you know Love was born November 2nd? Did you know Love was raised in Bakersfield, California? Did you know Love played college football at Utah State? Are you looking for lots of Love touchdowns the rest of this football season? Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, where we love being your one-stop shop for everything alcohol-related. With our selection of over 15,000 varieties of beer, wine, liquor, and mixers, all at the lowest prices in town, Discount Liquor has all your tailgating needs covered. We are your football party beverage headquarters. Discount Liquor, 2 locations, Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
See all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucks fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at bucks.com/tickets. That's bucks.com/tickets.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Kyle Bruston Nortman live from X Golf at American Family Field. Alex Stroh, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you and joining us now. What'd you say last segment?
Yeah, I feel like there's some animosity between you two and Ben. I like Jim Rutledge. I just don't like your takes, though, Jim.
Host of Jim, Matt, and Molly, Jim Rutledge joins us now. Jim, I don't think there's any animosity between the two of us.
I love Alex Stroh. And Kyle, chicks dig the long ball? Is that what I was told?
Yeah, I gotta hit him long. I did say that. The long dig the long ball, Jason. They don't care about.
I beg your pardon?
We need to get rid of that, man.
One more time, Wooly.
We are about to hit him long. It's about the long dig the long ball, Jason. They don't care about.
I beg your pardon?
So good.
How we doing?
Come on, my mama listened to the show, y'all. Y'all can't be doing that to me.
Stroh knows
you did it to yourself.
I'm embarrassed.
You did it to yourself.
If I wasn't black, I'd be blushing. You can see it. I'm blushing right now, boy.
I'm sorry. And Stroh gets that's just the vibe of Jim, Matt, and Molly. Stroh understands that.
Yeah,
we get after dark.
You pay for it.
Get after dark. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well, that originated. Where were we? We were on remote somewhere, Jim, and we started doing voices that you would hear in a gentleman's club. Like coming to the stage.
Yeah, coming to the stage. It is Daisy Chicks Dig the Long Ball.
Jim, that was your best impression. I don't take you as a gentleman's club type of guy.
No, I've only been for bachelor party and other people's bachelor parties.
How'd that go?
We know about I've explained my concussion before. I don't know your audience as opposed to the Jim, Matt, and Molly audience.
Wait a minute. So you got a concussion at the strip club?
When you are the bachelor, there is yes. There's a lot of money thrown away. I don't know if it was actually a concussion, but I definitely had a headache. It's a headache every guy will take, but there was a lot of percussion going on there, you know?
Oh, wow.
Percussion. Yeah,
it was just getting
good use of the word percussion.
Boom, boom, boom. That's crazy. Oh, wow. I can see Jim was probably wilding out. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Greg Scalzo was there. You can ask him.
Oh, wow.
I think Gabe Neitzel was there. I can't remember. I think Gabe was there.
Gabe Neitzel's here, actually, at X-Golf.
You should ask Gabe if he remembers
we can pull
percussion
him over and ask
concussion.
about that.
That's a heck of a phrase.
Concussion.
I don't know if I could. So would it be awkward going to work after going to a strip club with people you work with?
That's actually a good follow-up.
Like, he was wild. I remember when I went to a strip club for my 21st birthday, and my uncle came with. My uncle's like, he's 22 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And I remember he went up to my brother and he asked him, he said, hey, has Kyle ever been with a woman before? He seemed to be super excited to be here. And so I know, like, if I went with coworkers, y'all be like, dang, man, like, you calm down. I don't like them. But I'm just saying, that was 21. I was 20. I was a young Kyle. One Kyle seeing stuff I ain't seen before.
Yeah, there was a place called the Body Shop. I saw things that I never want to see again either up in Wisconsin Rapids.
I'll take you to the Body Shop.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But you know,
Jim, don't get control.
Jim, Bears-Patriots this weekend. I assume Bears going to win, which sets up kind of a big game at Soldier Field
why
next
do you
week.
think that?
Because the Patriots stink.
Oh, okay. The Bears are coming off 2 in a row, losing 2 in a row.
That's true.
Now, to Alex's point, the only thing the Bears have proven this year is they've been able to beat stinky teams. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. And they've won, I think the last time they lost at home was to the Green Bay Packers. So I think there's 10 wins in a row. I will say this. If they lose, at a minimum, I believe their OC will be fired. But I could see their coach being let go, which would be historic. They almost never do that.
How hot is his seat? Matt Eberflus, the head coach.
At this point, I would bet money he's done at the end of the year. Like he has to have he has to have a turnaround like the Packers did at the exact same point.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen. And that's my whole point is that I don't understand. This is why I feel like the Packers are so far ahead of the Bears. It's not because we just drafted the right guys. It's just the overall structure of the organization. Why you would get a guy. You got so lucky to get the number 1 overall pick to be able to draft Caleb Williams. And you know, Jim, deep down in your heart that Matt Eberflus is not going to lead this Bears team to a Super Bowl. You knew he wasn't going to be. You guys knew at some point you would move on from him. So why wait? Why did you wait until him to mess up and then mess with the potential development of Caleb Williams?
I don't disagree with you on any of that. Kevin Warren has been brought in, former Big Ten commissioner. He was in charge of Minnesota as well. They have never had a guy like that over football. And then Ryan Poles, that's honestly his blemish, is that he's built a good roster. He's made some really clever trades. Sticking with Eberflus seems like a major blemish. Especially when there was reports out there that right after the Hail Mary that apparently Ben Johnson was waiting for the job with the Bears to come open this offseason, and they didn't come free. So I imagine it'll be Ben Johnson and Robert Saleh coaching the Bears next year.
Wow. Okay, that's a prediction. We will talk to you next week ahead of Bears-Packers, Jim. But before that, Ryan Wollersheim, producer of Jim, Matt, and Molly, play us out one final time.
We are about to hit him long. It's about the long dig, the long ball, Jason. They don't care about
I beg your pardon?
I'll never get sick of that. Thanks, Jim.
See ya.
Jim, Matt, and Molly coming up next on ESPN Madison. The Damn Sports Show up next on ESPN Beaver Dam. I give the final word and all 3 of our stations to Kyle Wallace.
Well, it was a mistake of what I said, and so if the FCC comes, it was an accident, and I don't even think it's even something that was bad because it wasn't a reference, but there was no lie told. There was no lie told in that statement.
Oh, my goodness. Kyle Bruston Norman continues in 2 minutes on ESPN Milwaukee, live from X Golf at American Family Field.
Well, we've got an accident on 894 eastbound. It's right at the end of the 76th Street on-ramp. A couple box trucks off on the right shoulder. Careful with that. Westbound 94 slowing down from 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound slowing down from about 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange to about 35th. Southbound on 41. Watch for backups basically from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 41 at the lake, 35 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Cousins Subs is spicing things up this fall with a new sub and a delicious shake. The Chipotle Cheesesteak Sub with either grilled-to-order chicken or steak features pepper jack cheese, sautéed green peppers and onions, jalapenos, and Chipotle ranch dressing. And that's not all. Pair your Chipotle Cheesesteak with a new pumpkin pie shake and your taste buds will fall in love. Order in-store, online, or via the mobile app. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune into Kyle Bruston Nortman from 2 to 5 every day. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and streaming live at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
We them boys. Holla, we them boys. Holla, holla, holla. We making noise. Holla.
Back. But we're most definitely coming back. Good.
It's the 414 hour at 4 on KBN Live from AmFam Field for the Stand Up to Cancer event that they have going on.
Indeed. It's exactly what this is.
Wonderful. Swing in the club.
How's your golf game?
See, what do you mean by golf game?
Exactly what it indicates. How good are you at golf?
I can swing a golf club and I can hit a golf ball.
Yep, that's the basics of it.
I play 18 holes once in my life, and I haven't been
I
back
can
since.
Dribble the basketball and I can shoot the basketball. That's what you just said.
I mean, no, I can complete a hole now. I can get the ball in the hole.
You can complete a hole. You mean the entire objective of playing golf?
Yeah, I mean, I can complete it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not consistent, but I can. We played at a place in Brookfield, off the freeway in Brookfield one time, and the last hole, I think hole 18 was 18. Well, par was 3, and I got par. So I mean, I'm a guy who doesn't golf. That was the last time I golfed 18 holes, and that was like in 2018.
Okay.
So I'm decent. How are you?
Bad.
Okay, I'm not decent. I'm just a guy out there.
So you're bad.
I don't like using the word bad.
Let me put it this way. My girlfriend golfed one time this year. I golfed twice this year. She beat me when we played together.
What does that mean? I mean, your girlfriend might be good at golf.
She's not.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
she's better than me, though.
No, I don't know. I really want to go up there and swing so you could judge whether or not I'm bad or I don't know. I'm not good. I'll just say that. I'm not good at golf, but I can swing it.
All right, well, I appreciate your honesty. Something that's also not very good. The Milwaukee Bucks thus far into the season. They are 1-6. They have lost 6 in a row following winning the opening game of their season to the Philadelphia 76ers a couple weeks ago. They've lost 6 straight. They host another 1-6 team tonight. That would be the Utah Jazz. I am a glutton for punishment, so I'm going to that game tonight. Against the Utah Jazz at AmFam Field.
Ooh, I don't like.
Now, ahead of tonight's game, it is important to indicate this. Adrian Griffin, who was fired last year, has now coached the same number of regular season games as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks as Doc Rivers had. Adrian Griffin's record as the head coach when he was fired was 30-13. That's 43 games.
That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good.
Doc Rivers, 18-25 in 43 regular season games as the head coach of the Bucks. That would be 7 games under 500.
That's bad.
Good. You're doing good at this game. Now, I don't want to put too much stock into a regular season game, but I think tonight against the 1-6 Utah Jazz, those are the 2 worst records in basketball. Bucks and Jazz at 1-6 each. If the Bucks lose tonight, what kind of faith does that give you for the remainder of the regular season? Do they need to blow it up? Do they need to make trades? Is it the end of the Giannis era? Like, where does your mind go if the Bucks start the season 1-7, including a loss to the Utah Jazz?
I'll be concerned. My mind goes to the fact that we have to play the Knicks and then we have to play the Celtics right after that, which to me, can the Bucks win one of those games? Yes, but the way they play, basically on a 6-game losing streak, and that losing streak, I believe, started in Boston when they played the Celtics for Game 2 of the season, I believe, or something around there.
Yep.
And so, my mind goes to a place that where this is a rough start, but Strofe, you know I'm optimistic.
You always are.
There's still a lot of time. I think if anything showed you last year showed you anything, it would be this is a process, and we're still missing Chris Middleton, which is a key component to the success of this basketball team. Giannis and Dame are going to have to figure it out. The bench is going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to gel as an overall roster. And so right now, we can consider this a grace period. Now, this is an ugly grace period. I didn't expect for it to be this bad. But overall, I'm going to give the Bucks a 20-game grace. Within the first 20 games of the season, if the Bucks could end up being –
So you're giving them a quarter of the season?
Yeah. It's all about how you play at the end. That's how, especially based off what we have been the last couple of years. And again, we have not been healthy in the playoffs the last couple of years, which has impacted us negatively when it comes to losing in the first round or losing in the second round, or Giannis not being able to be there for the Celtics series a couple of years ago because he got hurt. And so Chris had to put the team on his back, right? And so overall for me is that I'm not panicking about the Milwaukee Bucks this early on. I'm going to hold my judgment in my negativity. Now, if we get to 20 games in the season, and the Milwaukee Bucks are, 7-13, I would definitely be concerned.
Yeah, that's fair. But my biggest concern with this Bucks team is the same problem we had a year ago. When they were eliminated from the playoffs, we used one 3-letter word to describe the Bucks team. Old. What is this Bucks team at 1-6?
Old. Bad.
That would be correct.
Old and bad.
2 3-letter words. Yeah, they're 1-6. The big news tonight, Andre Jackson Jr. has been inserted into the starting lineup over Gary Trent Jr.
5-letter word. Young.
Youth. I have multiple words to describe Andre Jackson Jr. No offensive presence.
Yeah, he can jump, though.
He can jump. He can rebound. He can play defense. He's not really going to help the lack of scoring on offense. This team is being outshot from outside the three-point line by every team they play. Andre Jackson Jr. doesn't shoot the three ball. Gary Trent Jr. does a little bit, who's headed to the bench now. He will come off the bench tonight against the Utah Jazz. Chris Middleton's hurt, I get it. But this team can't shoot threes. They can't run with younger teams.
Well,
it's a very concerning stuff.
It is a concerning thing, and that's why you put Andre Jackson Jr. in there, because you get more athletic in that starting lineup.
But I view this Bucks team, Kyle, similarly to how I viewed the Packers teams when they were led by Aaron Rodgers. If you're not making championships or making a run at a championship, it is an abject failure. And it doesn't feel like this team, especially with the start they've had at 1-6, is a team that is going to make a run at a championship. Shoot, at this point, they'd be lucky to make the playoffs at 1-6.
Yeah, and they haven't really closed out games well. If you close out the games against the Cavs, you don't lose the lead in one. You don't come back and end up having a buzzer beater in the other. We're looking at this season a lot differently for the Milwaukee Bucks. We're still disappointed, but you had some duds early on, man. You can't lose games to the Brooklyn Nets, right? You can't lose games on a lot of Chicago Bulls to score 133 points. You got to take care of business. My hope is that when we get to, December, January 2025, this Bucks team will finally have figured it out, and they start playing that better basketball that they need to play down the stretch in order to truly be a championship-type team. So I'm not going to panic right now, Strofe. It's been ugly at the start. It's been some bad games at the start, but I don't believe that we need to put too much concern in how old they are, not being able to figure things out, and it still being early on during Doc Rivers' tenure. Again, I'm going to hold all my judgment until after Game 20. After Game 20, if it looked ugly, then I'm going to be concerned that this is not just a trend. This is an identity issue.
You're a season ticket holder.
Yeah. Thank you.
How many games have you gone to?
0.
Are you going tonight?
My brother had somebody he knew who wanted to go, so we allowed them to go.
Okay. And what is your plan with your season tickets?
To go to as many games as possible to see a great Bucks organization play.
Okay. Are you sure you want to use the word great when it comes to the product we've seen so far this season?
Organization that I love. How about that?
I also love the organization. I love every organization in the state. But this is not acceptable, what we've seen thus far.
Okay, so it's not acceptable right now, but I'm not in the world of trying to make excuses. But overall, you didn't have Giannis the last game as well, and you haven't had Chris. Do you expect for this to be a different basketball team with Chris Middleton, or do you expect, hey, Chris Middleton's also old and we can't depend on him? He's
Chris
not
certainly adds a new complexion offensively. But the thing you just said, right, is this is a team that consistently, especially the last few years, has been hurt in the postseason.
Yeah.
So we can't just assume once Chris returns, everybody's going to be fine. This Chris Middleton injury, first off, when we talked to them at Media Day, the expectation was he would be ready for opening night.
Yeah, I recall.
We are now 7 games into the season, and he is still not ready to go.
And so my thing is I still need to see this team play together because I know they play.
I do too. And I think that changes the outlook maybe a little bit when you have Dame, Giannis, Chris, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis all healthy and together. But
it should.
It should. But will it?
I think it will. And sometimes you may think that, you should be able to win without having Chris there. You should be able to win without having Giannis there if you have two of the three guys. That just may not be the case for this basketball team. Can they be at their best when they have their big three all together? Can they really compete once Doc Rivers gets his hands on the team that he originally thought he was taking over? That's what we'll be able to see. But I will say this. If it does not work out this year, if they do not win a championship this year, then we will see a big change in the offseason for the Milwaukee Bucks overall. Because how much I appreciate Chris and thank Chris, because Chris Middleton was a key component to the Green Bay Packers, the Milwaukee Bucks winning that NBA championship. And I should for always be thankful for him. All of Milwaukee Bucks fans should always be thankful for Chris Middleton. Mm-hmm. But you have to consider what the future looks like of this Bucks organization with a Chris, with a Dame, with a Giannis.
Yeah, I am intrigued to see the direction this team goes because we saw it a year ago. Prior to the trade deadline, it was not a good enough start for the Milwaukee Bucks. They fire Adrian Griffin. They move on from him. They bring in Doc Rivers. It hasn't been good enough right now. How are you feeling? What are your expectations for the Milwaukee Bucks after the 1-6 start? 800-990-3776. Your way into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Jonah in Port Washington weighs in. Strofe, I'm going to the game tonight too. If they lose to the abysmal Jazz, we can cry at the bar together afterwards. You've got a deal, Jonah. We will do that if they lose to the abysmal Jazz. Let's go to Mukwonago, the winner of today's over-under. Dirty Diana.
Hey, Dirty
Diana Mukwonago. You're on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Okay, I get it that they're off to a really bad start, but can we ease up on my boys just a little bit?
I'm with you, Diana.
1-6.
Oh wow, Chris.
No.
I'm easing up on them, Diana. Wait,
I'm
Diana,
a ticket holder.
I'll see you at the game.
Kyle?
I am a season ticket
Kyle,
holder. What section?
Are you
in the lower bowl, upper bowl? Yeah.
Are you going to the Boston? Are you going to the Boston game?
I am out of town on Sunday, unfortunately, so that I could not attend. What do you?
What
ask?
about next Wednesday? No, we have the Boston game. We have the next Wednesday game. We have Wednesday.
You guys planning a meetup right now, live on the air?
I may be there. I'll let you know, Dirty D. We'll meet up. I'll link up with you, Dirty D. Dirty D got the good seats. I'm about to come. Yeah, I'm in the 100s. I think it's either 112 or 118.
We're in section 122, right by the Bucks bench.
Cool.
Oh, wow. Big money.
Big money, Diana. All right, Diana Mukwonago, thanks for the call.
I'm going to tell people, hey, I'm going to see Dirty D. Move. Let me get down there.
I don't believe you.
No, I will. I'm going to say what up to her.
Okay. No, I'm not doubting that. I just don't think you'd be walking through the arena yelling, hey, excuse me, I'm going to see Dirty D.
I'll tell the ushers, no, I know somebody, Dirty D. They'll say, huh? You got to say it with confidence. And they'll be like, okay, I guess so.
Okay, fair enough.
I really wanted to ask her when she would start panicking. So at what point will you really feel like this season is lost for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Well, if we did this, and I will ask this, 800-990-3776, scale of 1 to 10, where are you at in the panic meter? I'm probably at a 6 already. I'm above 50% for sure. This is bad. I mean, you just can't lose the games the way they've been losing them. Yeah. Now, the hope is, right, this is a team that the last couple of years, and I know injuries play a role in this, they've started the season hot, and then they've stumbled into the postseason. Hopefully this season's reverse order. You start the season slow, and then you stumble hot. Well, not stumble, but you run hot into the postseason. That's the hope.
That is the hope. One last thing for you, Strofe. Have you seen how the Suns have been playing?
No.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well. You know who their coach is?
That would be Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah, so they're not a bad team. 7-1 to start the year. 7-1 to start the year. Maybe,
so are you making the case?
Are
you making the case right now that the Bucks made a mistake by firing Mike Budenholzer?
I would say hindsight may be 20/20 because this team has not. I mean, it's only been one season. But it seems like we have not been able to find our footing since he left. And I understand a lot of the failures that we had, but Booty left and we still have failures.
Yeah.
Bud, I was told he goes by.
It's Bud, not Booty. But either or, I don't mind. I know who you're referring to.
Yeah, so.
Mike Budenholzer, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns now, gets another opportunity. And pretty good start. Doc Rivers, on the other hand, not so much, but maybe he can turn around. He's won a title before, too, just like Booty has. Bud? Booty? Whatever. We know who we're talking about. Kyle Wallace, Alex Strofe, hanging out with you. We're live at X Golf at American Family Field. Curious on your thoughts on the Bucks as they've stumbled out of the gates. 1-6 start. They host the Utah Jazz tonight. I am a glutton for punishment, so I am attending the game at Fiserv Forum. Hopefully it looks a little bit prettier than the start of the year has.
I hope so for you. It should. The Bucks are going to win tonight. You're playing a bad team. The Bucks aren't a bad team.
It's called an announcer's jinx.
No, they're a bad team. We're not a bad team, so we'll be fine.
All right. Coming up next, we hear from our producer, Chris Larson. It's time to play some Becoming Relevant, some of the hot topics going on in the brain of Chris Larson. We hear from Chris. Coming up next, it's Kyle Bruston-Nortman live from American Family Field on ESPN Milwaukee.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman, KBN.
What's going on? Big, come on.
It's getting tough. It's getting slow.
Ben, don't be pathetic. Your father's with your baby. They're listening. You gotta be better.
But I'm giving it my all. I don't know what you're at either.
Stop humping the ground.
Yeah.
Get up.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We're seeing some delays along southbound 43 from Hampton Avenue down to Capitol Drive, back on the brakes from North Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Southbound 41 also slowing down from south of Appleton Avenue down past Capitol. Eastbound 94, we've got delays from Barker Road all the way to Brookfield Road, and then again from 92nd Street to 35th, with the westbound side slowing just before 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Traffic is brought to you by Fisco Auto Body. Call Fisco Auto Body to help with all body repair needs. Fisco. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 41 at the lake, 35 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
By now, you should know IKEA loves their customers. And from November 8th through the 11th, celebrate IKEA's Fall Customer Appreciation Days with exclusive deals, discounts, and giveaways. IKEA family members save 15% off on in-store purchases of $150 or more and enjoy bonus discounts on select products. Plus, be one of the first 200 IKEA family members at IKEA Oak Creek this Saturday to receive a mystery gift card up to $500. You could be one of them. Don't miss out on IKEA's Fall Customer Appreciation Days happening this weekend at IKEA Oak Creek.
Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I'm comfortable in saying this. This was the biggest waste of a season in Wisconsin sports history. This is worse than Ray Rhodes.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
But without Giannis, I have a hard time saying that.
Well, then give me a comparable. What was worse? Give me a worse season.
Chewy, that's easy. That's so easy.
What?
2011 Packers.
Mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Al Leidinger, president of Matheson Manufacturing, needed better document imaging technology rather badly. Then came a James Imaging System sales representative to the rescue.
Tammy Oliver actually walked in the door one day and introduced herself and showed us the new features that the Toshiba had compared to our old copier. So we ended up signing up with them.
Now, after the sale, is your James Imaging System sales rep's customer service meeting your expectations?
Yes, she still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
James Imaging Systems. Better document imaging technology, better support, amazing people.
There's a true personal relationship, and we've been very happy with them.
Less than happy with your current document imaging vendor? Make the switch to James Imaging Systems. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hey, it's Gary Ellison here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? Get a little slice of summer on the links with Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center, a top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center's simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. with bays at just $35 an hour, Mondays through Thursdays. That summer feel is easily back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
This is Jeff Johnson.
And I'm Jason Johnson.
And together we're part of Johnson & Sons Paving.
Get your parking lot ready now for spring and avoid paying for extra repairs later on.
We'll come out to your property and walk it with you.
Potholes, damaged asphalt, damaged concrete, standing water, you name it. We'll talk to you about your options and fix it.
Plan a budget, set up an overall schedule with Johnson & Sons Paving.
It's all about doing it right the first time. Call us today to schedule a walkthrough and free estimate.
JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Kyle Bruston Nortman rolls on live. Whoa, let's try that again. Kyle Bruston Nortman rolls on live from X Golf. Who cares? They're not here. I can say their names wrong. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you at X Golf at American Family Field for the annual Stand Up to Cancer Upper Deck Golf outing that's going on here at AmFam Field. We're talking a little bit about the Milwaukee Bucks' early season struggles. 1-6 start as they take on the Utah Jazz at Fiserv Forum tonight. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm going to the game. I've got some concerns. You have some concerns as well. 800-990-3776, your way in to the Bucks conversation. Let's go to the great city of Sheboygan now. That's where the tallest American flag in the country is. Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Oh, is that the one off the freeway?
That's the one off the freeway.
That thing is massive.
That thing's huge. We go to Dan in Sheboygan now. Dan, you're on KBN. What's up, Dan?
Hello, gentlemen. At what point for the Milwaukee Bucks do you decide to pull the plug on this thing completely? Because they went all in. They won a title a couple years ago. They've got an aging roster. Who on this roster? How does this team get better? They're older, they're slower, and they don't like playing draft picks. I mean, if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, the issue is they don't have a ton of draft picks, right? They've got a bunch of second-round picks, and typically those don't turn out. They haven't had a high pick since what, Thon Maker? I mean, this team doesn't have a ton of draft picks to develop, and when they do, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Malcolm Brogdon was the one that really played a role.
What I'm saying is you're going to come a point where, let's say they're like 11-25. At what point do you say Giannis is worth more if we flip him instead of keeping Giannis around? Because he's the only tradable asset they have where they can get close to equal value. You're not getting equal value for Middleton. We're going to take the Fed point guards for other teams. You're not getting equal value for Lillard or anybody else in that roster. Flipping Giannis into something is the only way to save this thing.
Okay,
where's the best case scenario right now for Milwaukee? The best case scenario was to make the playoffs and win one round?
Wait a minute. Can I ask you a question? I know it's rude to ask a woman their age, but how old are you?
I'm old enough.
So
I mean, it doesn't matter how old I am.
No. I'm saying the whole point of what I'm saying is that mess around and find out. You trade Giannis, we could go back to the 15-win team we were when Giannis was a rookie. We could go back to being the middle of the road. 41 guys. Because there's no guarantee you trade Giannis is going to have a start.
Or you can find an executive that's got a clue, and he could be Oklahoma City, and he can turn them into players that can play.
Yeah,
But thanks for the call. But the thing is, what Oklahoma City did is probably
they have
unrepeatable.
0 titles though.
Then they do, but to go from they went from KD and the Russell Westbrook and James Harden, and they flipped all those guys into a bunch of draft picks.
There's no guarantee that
they
you're
were
going
able to bring in
get to what you need to get
SGA. They brought in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now they have Chet Holmgren, and they're building something that's working. We saw what they were able to do in terms of the regular season a year ago. We'll see if they can get some postseason success, but obviously Golden State's still in the way. There's several good teams in the Western Conference, Denver and Dallas.
Trading away a star player does not guarantee that your organization and franchise is still going to be good, right? And he said it, the executive that we have in John Horst, he hasn't been able to prove that he can utilize assets in the first round and have them turn out. And so I would not risk whatsoever trading Giannis at this moment, right? This is not the time to trade Giannis. Now, again, I am not for that. I want Giannis to retire a buck, and I hope he's just like Kobe retires the buck. But if you have a guy like AJ, who they just drafted, and I believe, Jalen, I believe is his name.
Yeah, Jalen. Yeah.
If those guys turn out to actually have something where you're talking about one of them can be a franchise player, cornerstone, then that's different. Then it gives you options of what you end up doing, Giannis. But I have every hope and expectation we keep Giannis.
Let's continue to hear from you. 800-990-3776. What do you want to do with the Bucks? A 1-6 start. Is it time to blow it up, or do we keep on keeping on with Giannis, Dame, and Chris? Let's go to Phoenix, Arizona, where Mike Budenholzer's now the head coach. MK in Phoenix, you're on KBN.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going
good,
great,
Mike.
man.
Thanks.
Good
How are you?
Thanks for giving me an opportunity to just kind of vent, because I was a proponent of keeping Budenholzer when they fired him. You guys are in the know, so I'm sure there was all this buzz about how he coached poorly in that last playoff game before they fired him. You recall what happened to him personally a day before that playoff game?
His brother passed
away, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've got to be human, and I couldn't even believe that they got rid of him. So they get rid of him. They get rid of Drew Holiday. They bring in, I don't know what happened with that, let's call him an interim coach, and then they bring in Doc Rivers. And you look at the court when they put out their players. Where are the shooters? You know, there's. I'm not saying blow it up. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid that maybe the best that we saw with the Bucks with Giannis and that is all in our rearview mirror. And what I would do if I was in charge right now is I would say so long to Doc Rivers and put Darvin Ham in the head.
Oh, my God.
Well, the Darvin Ham, I mean, it's a thought, right? I mean, and we're looking for solutions. And I don't know that every solution is going to be a good one. But what we know about Darvin Ham as a head coach, not so good is how it went last year and the year prior, with the Los Angeles Lakers ultimately leading to his return to Milwaukee. Appreciate the call, MK. Budenholzer, getting rid of Budenholzer, hindsight being what it is, maybe the wrong move. Doc Rivers is still a highly accomplished, good NBA head coach. I'm not saying he's going to take you to the promised land. I'm not saying he's going to lead you to an NBA championship, because what we know about Doc Rivers is, outside of what he did in 2008 in Boston, he's failed to win the big one with some really good teams he's had, whether that be in LA or Philadelphia. It's a team that had a lot. So we will see. Go ahead, Kyle.
And so overall, I agree to this day with the Dame Lillard trade, because the Milwaukee Bucks would be in a worse situation right now if they still had Drew Holiday on this team. Because Drew Holiday, something about him, he's not a go-to scorer right now at the point of his career, right? He's a guy that brings a great mentality. He brings tough defense as well. And then he can be a role player, off-the-ball type guy. When he gets the ball, he can do something with it. But at the end of the day, he's not a guy that you can depend on. So imagine our team with a hurt Chris Middleton, a hurt Giannis, where we would be right now.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right about that.
The trade, we're not going to knock the trade. Drew ended up in a great situation. If he didn't end up in Boston, we wouldn't be talking about, well, look what Drew's doing, look what he's doing. No, he ended up in a great situation in Boston because he ended up trading from Portland to Boston.
Yeah, Gary Trent Jr. is to answer MK's question, is one of the shooters you brought in that you had high hopes for, who was benched tonight.
He wasn't benched. He's coming off the bench.
Well, yes, he was moved from the starting lineup and he's moved to the bench.
They're switching his role.
He's averaging 23% from outside so far this season, which is not an ideal
not good.
An ideal number. Let's keep it with the phone calls. Jake in Milwaukee, you're up next. KBN.
Oh, what's up? So I don't think you should blow up that team. I mean, if you look at it, numbers-wise, they can easily go back to where they should be statistically. They're a 3-and-D team. They just got to figure out their flow on defense. You change so many pieces on that team anyway.
Are they a 3-and-D team?
I mean,
I don't
you
know that
look
they're
at the
a
players
3-and-D
that they
team,
had.
Jake.
Under Bud, they were one of the better defensive teams. You have the length. You have the athleticism.
I'm not doubting the D part of that
Figure
sentence. I'm doubting the 3 part of that sentence.
So then you look at the shooters they brought in. Yeah, Gary Trent, terrible from 3 right now. What does he can't get hot suddenly? Figure it out. So Dame wasn't too good last year. Look what he can do now. So, I mean.
Yeah, I appreciate the optimism from you, Jake. I'm with you. I appreciate the optimism and the phone call. I'm with you. I hope this is a team that can turn it around from outside.
Packers, someone has to.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, but when it comes to these three-point shooters, just look at the numbers. And I know it's early. We only have 7 games on paper. That's about it's about 2 games if we compare it to an NFL season through 7
I'll let y'all
games,
do the math. Y'all be doing this math trying to. I don't do the math.
So it's about 2 games if we compare it to a 17-game NFL season. So we don't have a ton of if we compared it to that, right? It's a long season, 82 games in the NBA. We don't have a ton on paper to pull from. Man. But when you look at the guys who have been shooting the most threes this season, of course, Damian Lillard leads the way. That's why you bring a guy like him in, right?
Yeah.
How about in terms of 3 points attempted per game after that? Brooke Lopez is number 2. Gary Trent is number 3. Taurean Prince, who is a power forward, is number 4. So when it comes to Jake's point, I don't know that this is a 3-and-D team because the 3 part, they've been outshot all season long. Now, can they average back to the mean on what we expect from this team? Sure, but through 7 games, it just hasn't been good enough, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a lot of doom and gloom around here. I was not expecting this early on in the season, maybe because I'm optimistic and I'm still really focused on the Green Bay Packers, and I think it's so early with the Milwaukee Bucks that I'm not too concerned about this. But it seems to me that there is a lot of doom and gloom around this Milwaukee Bucks team, but I think it's not so much how the Bucks are starting the season, it's how last year was an absolute train wreck that's contributing to the panic that fans are having.
Yeah, no, the way they went out to the Indiana Pacers in the first round of the playoffs. This is a team, as I pointed it out earlier, it's similar to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. You have championship expectations every year. Now, since the Bucks won the title in 21, it's been disappointments and injury, right? That's all you've gotten in the postseason. Now, a 1-6 start, they have mathematically the worst record in the NBA right now of all 30 teams.
Tied.
They're tied with the team they play tonight.
Tied.
The Utah Jazz.
Somebody's going to be the bottom of the barrel, and it won't be us.
Well, you certainly hope not. We'll take one more phone call on this before we actually hear from Chris Larson coming up next. I think this is like the 4th time I've told you we're going to hear from Chris Larson. We will actually do it at next segment. But first, we stay in Milwaukee. We go to Benji in Milwaukee. Benji, you're on KBN.
What up, fellas? Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm very conflicted because I'm kind of the same way. I'm not all out on the Bucks quite yet, but something seems off. The defense as a whole just Swiss cheese. Like, it's one thing if John Morant gives us 3, but, like, we're giving up 10 points to all 5 of their starters, you know? It's like everybody's getting something on us, right? And so I'm not exactly sure. But on offensively, and I'm not sure about this, you guys tell me, it feels like Giannis and Dame, they're just not meshing great. You know, obviously I think it still can change, but it feels like Giannis wants the ball to go to him a little bit more, and, Dame is okay. Like, there's possessions where Dame just sits in the corner the whole time. And, that's crazy to me.
No, I think that's a really good point. I think that's a really good point by you, right? I don't want to use the full-blown term identity crisis because I don't think it's quite that bad. But a 1-6 record in the first 7 games, certainly not what you hope for when you have 2 top 75 players of all time.
Yeah.
And Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. By the way, just one quick addendum.
Yeah.
I think that I'm using that word correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
I fell asleep during the Sixers and Clippers game last night. The Sixers did lose, so they are also tied with the worst record in the league at 1-6.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Thanks for making that addendum there, that correction to the record, clarifying. But I will say that I do believe that the Milwaukee Bucks should definitely focus on running this offense through Dame and letting Giannis kind of be that second fiddle. And now when I say second fiddle, he's dominant. He's going to dominate. Giannis is going to get his. But I do think there may need to be a shift, and there may need to be some humility shown from Giannis in order for this team to really be what it is. He's talked about he's good with Dame to be able to have this offense, but I think he really needs to prove it on the court. But there needs to be something fixed. I'm not concerned. I think they'll be okay. But TBD, bro. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Kyle, I have a question for you.
I hope I have an answer for you. Do I have an answer for you?
Yeah, you have an answer for me.
Okay.
Do you love your windows?
I do love my windows. And you know why I love my windows? It's because I have Universal Windows Direct. Yes, and you can get it as well. We're getting ready to head into the winter, and I don't want you to be stuck in an old, drafty home with old, drafty windows and making your heating system work overtime. See, Universal Windows Direct is here to help. And how they help is they help you save money, they help lower your energy bill, and they also make your house more energy efficient. You can't go wrong when you use Universal Windows Direct. And guess what, y'all? Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Yes, for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4, buy 50. Yes, 50 windows. If you're buying 50 windows, you got a big old house. Get 50 free, but it is all fun with the Universal Windows Direct. But then on top of that, y'all, listen. They're offering 0% financing for 60 months. Yes, 0% financing for 60 months. That is 5 whole years of interest-free financing from Universal Windows Direct. Restrictions do apply. So call Universal Windows Direct today at 414-410-2000. That is 414-410-2000 to schedule a free in-home estimate today. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to uwd.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows, and I love Chris Larson, who we hear from coming up next, finally, on Becoming Relevant, right here. Kyle Brust-Nortman live from X Golf at American Family Field.
You're listening to Kyle Brust-Nortman, KBN.
Let them know the dread-headed brother loves the Green Bay Packers. When you see me, Goody, let me in the box.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Southbound on 41, still heavy from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. Northbound starting to tighten up a bit right past Burleigh as well. Southbound on 43, heavy from Hampton down to Capitol Drive. Then back on the brakes from North Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Stays heavy all the way down to the KK River crossing. Westbound 94 is backed up from 25th Street to about Mitchell Boulevard. And the eastbound side still slow through the Barker Road area, and then again back on the brakes from 92nd Street to 35th. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly clear, a low of 41 at the lake, 35 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. Weather is brought to you by the Corners of Brookfield. Head to the Corners for all of your gifting needs and find something for everyone at any of their 30-plus restaurants and retailers. thecornersofbrookfield.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Get ready for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the 300K season finale giveaway at Potawatomi. Friday, December 20th, watch your entries from Bird Bash, Cash Clash, and Winter Stash. All pile into one massive drawing for a chance at up to 50 grand cash. Be there to win your share. December 20th, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/finale. Must be 21 years old to play.
Whether you're about to graduate high school or have been in the workforce for years, it's time to take control of your future. Welcome to Lakeland University, where you call the shots. We use our flexible learning formats to customize your degree path. In-person, online, and virtual classes are all available. Lakeland University is designed around you, your goals, your schedule, your future. You can even earn up to 25% of your degree via paid work experiences. Ready to take control of your future? Let us customize an education to fit your needs. Visit lakeland.edu/ESPN to learn more.
Come to Kessler's and be greeted by an owner of the store.
We're America's largest employee-owned jewelry company.
Okay, but as a customer, what does that mean to me?
For one thing, it means you get to see every possible diamond choice.
Kessler's has diamonds from diamond mines and created diamonds from plasma chambers.
You can choose from 1,400 loose diamonds.
And every style of engagement ring ever designed.
Okay, I'm convinced.
And no other store can show you a Kessler 81.
With 81 facets instead of just 57, it wins the sparkle contest every time.
I'm convinced.
And no other store has the Kessler Princess Cut.
Or the exclusive Kessler's Emerald Cut or Kessler's Square Radiant Diamond.
I give up.
And when you want to tell her that you love her twice as much today as the day you married her.
Kessler's has big anniversary diamonds that can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Kessler's is unique in all the world.
So what do you say to all that, Sarah?
Welcome to Kessler's.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nordman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I need to be
Kyle Bruston Norman rolls on live from X Golf at American Family Field. Stand Up to Cancer, Upper Deck Golf going on all night tonight here at AmFam Field, raising money for a good cause. Alex Grove, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you for about another half an hour. Chris Larson back at the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all studio. At the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Time to go to Chris Larson. It is time to hear from him now. It is time for Becoming Relevant.
Hey, Mr. Irrelevant, it's time to become relevant. Stroph's time to shine on KBN starts now.
All right, guys, let's start here. We talked with Jason Wilde about this when he appeared in the 3 o'clock hour. If you missed any of that interview, you can go back and check it out at WisconsinOnDemand.com in the Jason Wilde section. Preston Smith wasn't surprised that he got the call Tuesday afternoon. He was headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Green Bay Packers at the trade deadline because the veteran pass rusher apparently said yesterday he requested a trade weeks earlier in search of a system that better fit his skill set. He said, quote, to reporters yesterday, I didn't feel like I was being useful in the system, and it wasn't catering to my play style and moving forward. Are you guys surprised that he was traded? Are you upset that he got traded? I mean, how will you remember his tenure in Green Bay? Because if we recall, he was one of the big free agent signings that Goody had when they brought in Zadarius Smith, they brought in Preston Smith. And do you have confidence in the guys behind him who are now going to step up and give him more playing time?
All right, lot to unpack there. So number one, I was not surprised, super surprised he was traded. I guess I was a little bit surprised. But, yeah, I'll remember him as a good Packer. He was a good Packer. He was a huge addition in 2019, as you mentioned, in Matt LaFleur's first season as the head coach. Obviously, some really good teams he was a part of. He was really healthy, as Jason mentioned, only missed one game in his entire career as a Green Bay Packer. But it's a 4-3-3-4 thing, right? He's better as an outside linebacker than he is a defensive end. He requested the trade. It didn't seem like he hated anybody, right? It wasn't like a disgruntled requesting of a trade. It was for the longevity of his career. He's better as an outside linebacker than he is as a defensive end with a hand in the ground every play he lines up. So it is what it is. Van Ness and Brenton Cox and Aaron Mosby, everybody behind him. They're going to get more reps, more opportunity, although they have not proven a whole heck of a lot this season.
Yeah, for me, I'm thankful for Preston Smith. Preston Smith is one of the all-time sack leaders here with the Green Bay Packers, number 6 overall, has many sacks in his career. And then on top of that, he was a great teammate. We had a lot of good times. We were talking about the Smith brothers earlier. Preston and Zadarius Smith, not really brothers, but on the field they were sack brothers. And so I was really enjoying everything that they did when they were together. And his tenure here will be remembered as a good one.
All right, moving on here. Let's go to you. CBS Sports, who's put out their mid-season hot seat coaching rankings in the NFL. No surprise, Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy, number 1 on the list. Bears coach Matt Eberflus, number 4 on the list. Well, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni, number 9 on the list. If we look at the whole landscape of Wisconsin sports, which head coach in this state right now is either on the hot seat for you or creeping towards being on the hot seat?
Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell. It's easy.
Hey, you said it 4 times. You want to say the 5th?
Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell. You know how you have the seat warmer on high?
Yeah.
And you be like, you sit down like, ooh, my butt is getting hot. That's how Luke Fickell should feel right now.
Do you think? I don't think.
He should feel the pressure.
I agree with you, right? What he has done is not good enough, and allowing Iowa to score 42 points on you is such an utter failure. It's unbelievable. It's hard to verbalize. But I just don't think Chris McIntosh, the athletic director at the University of Wisconsin, is ready to give up after a year and a half. I just don't. So I don't think his seat is the hottest. I'd go with Greg Gard. I'd stay at Wisconsin. Ooh. But entering his 10th year, losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year, it just feels like year after year the fire Greg Gard crowd becomes louder and louder. I am not a part of that crowd. But the early exit last year was rough. I don't know how good this team is going to be. It sounds like they struggled against UW River Falls in a scrimmage. They were down 21-5 and down at halftime to Holy Cross on Monday. They play, I think it's Central Montana today, or Southern. It's a directional Montana school who made the NCAA tournament.
I'm not too. I don't know
last
too much
year
about the Montana.
If they lose tonight, that seat's going to be extra hot.
Well, they won't lose tonight.
I would say it's one of the Wisconsin coaches, and I would put Doc River third. Montana State. There you go. Not directional.
Okay, I would say Montana State may not be bad.
They made the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row.
Yeah, and now that I know which one it is, they're not bad. It may actually be the guy that is the athletic director, to be honest. He might be on the hot seat, too.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Come on. I guess I don't know enough about Wisconsin athletics and how that interworkings work, but you miss on the football coach, your basketball coach isn't getting you to the level that you needed to get to. Those are the two big money sports, so.
It's fair. That's fair. One more, Chris.
Let me wrap up becoming relevant here with AmFam Field, where you guys are at today. Billy Joel and Sting was announced today. They're performing a concert at AmFam Field for one night only, coming up next year, Saturday, April 26th, the day before my birthday. The iconic musicians will each perform their most beloved songs from throughout their illustrious career. Tickets go on sale coming up later this month. The last performance from Billy Joel at the ballpark was in 2019, while Sting last performed in Milwaukee in 2016. Who's that one artist or band, when you hear they're coming to town, you drop money on some tickets, you're canceling all plans around that event, you're going to the show?
It's a great question. But before we get there, Kyle Wallace, who is Sting?
Sting is a band. It's a person. Sting is from Kiss.
No.
Okay. Who the hell is Sting? A rock band.
Sting is a person.
A rock person.
Yep. Well, band. If you get in trouble, you may need to call...
police.
Yep.
The police. Sting is from the police.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
What does the police sing? You may find something in the sea or the ocean. It's probably their biggest song. If you come out, like if you're digging in the ocean, you might pick something up that you would find.
I see seashells on the seashore.
That is not by the police. That is by second graders. No. How about Message in a Bottle?
Oh, a message in a bottle. How does it go?
I hope that someone gets my message in a bottle.
Nope.
Whoa.
Nope.
Okay. What do you know about Billy Joel?
Oh, for the longest time.
Okay.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I like Billy Joel.
Yeah, you nailed that. That was good.
Yeah. Did he have weed and start the fire?
Yep.
It was always burning as the
that's him
world
too.
was. See, now I like me some Billy Joel.
You gonna go to the show?
I should, because he comes to Wisconsin quite a bit, and he plays the piano.
Been 5 years.
Oh,
6 years by the time he comes here.
Was it Green Bay? He was
2019, he was here.
he was at Lambeau Field. That might have been almost a decade ago.
That was earlier than that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a decade ago.
They haven't had a concert at Lambeau in a while.
Well, yeah, because I remember one of my coworkers went up there when I worked at a different place. But yeah, I like Billy Joel. You should pay to go. You should pay to go.
Okay, now who's the one person for you if they came to town?
Go. It was Drake.
And you did it.
I did it. I sure did. Drake is probably the only artist that I would go see that I actually would want to pay money for. But you know who was incredible? Oh, my goodness. Seeing Janet Jackson live.
Okay.
Oh, she was so
You know
good.
who everybody gives me a hard time for? You probably won't even know who this is. I have seen the rock band Shinedown 5 times on concert.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah,
so that's my
they're not
answer.
too famous, are they?
No, they are the world leaders in like rock records.
No.
Yep.
I've never heard. No, ain't no way.
They have the most number ones of any rock band. Yeah.
Have you heard of Shine Band? Exactly. Shine Down. Come on now. You lying. You're pulling my leg.
I'm not pulling your leg. Shinedown is a very big rock band.
Never heard of them.
Okay, well that's
what's
your
the
fault.
song they made that people would know?
You would know Second Chance. Sometimes goodbye is a second chance.
No,
which is from like 2008. But they're still making music. I've seen them 5 times. Very good band.
I like Weezer
Sound
too.
of Madness. Weezer. They were just in Madison.
Weezer's better than them.
No, they're not.
On an island in the sun.
Bryan Bulaga, Packers former right tackle, first-round pick, Super Bowl champion. Ooh, and he looks like Buddy Holly. That's Weezer, too. Bryan Bulaga joins us next as we wrap up Kyle Brust and Nortman live from X-Golf at American Family Field.
This is Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Dick Van Dyke, real quick on the cha-cha slide ACL, says she was carried out by all 5 of us. 5 people?
That's a big girl. Big girl, yeah. That's a big girl who did cha-cha.
Stop it, Kyle.
What you mean? 5 of them had to carry. That's a big girl. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs
Yeah. Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
Are you guys being serious?
turnovers.
You guys can't put two and two
I got it.
together.
I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers. Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you too, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
At IKEA, they love their customers. And from November 8th through the 11th, celebrate IKEA's Fall Customer Appreciation Days with exclusive deals, discounts, and giveaways. Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Ben Brust. IKEA family members save 15% on in-store purchases of $150 or more and enjoy bonus discounts on select products. Plus, be one of the first 200 IKEA family members at IKEA Oak Creek this Saturday to receive a mystery gift card worth up to $500. Don't miss out on IKEA's Fall Customer Appreciation Days, happening this weekend at IKEA Oak Creek.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
People don't want to acknowledge how good the Commanders are just because they have a rookie quarterback. And
Absolutely.
They're looking at the history of it, and they're saying, well, it doesn't feel right that the Washington Commanders should be able to get a turnaround this quickly. A team that had the second overall pick last year, they would be primed to be able to go on a deep playoff run and possibly represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And then a step further would say, well, we don't see rookie quarterbacks go and play for the big one. So I can disqualify the Commanders from that conversation. And to that, I would say, this ain't just any rookie quarterback. This dude is different. Not only is he going to run away with Rookie of the Year, he's firmly in the MVP conversation. And I think the next 2 weeks, with matchups against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles, is going to put everybody around the NFL on notice about just how good Jaden Daniels is and how far this Washington Commanders team can go.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast, and all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats.
And free groceries.
Okay, just calm down. We'll get to that later.
Stay tuned in right here to score free groceries.
Stop, please.
Okay, I'm shutting up. My lip is zipped.
Anyway, let's get to this week's specials at Century Foods. Now through Wednesday, save on 1.1 to 2 ounce McCormick Pure Vanilla Extract or Ground Nutmeg, $3.99. 12-pack can Selected Varieties Super Chill Soda, $4.79. 12.5 to 20 ounce Selected Varieties Rana Pasta or Sauce, $5.99. 10 to 13 ounce Selected Varieties Marie Callender Bowls or Pot Pies, 2 for $4.
And now time for the big reveal. Free groceries.
That's too over the top. Try this. Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Forget it. I'll handle the rest. Enter to win $500 worth of free groceries on Century's Facebook or Instagram by January 8th.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of.
You know what that music means. Kyle Bruston Nortman live from X Golf at American Family Field. Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace hanging out with you for a few more minutes. But before that, before we get out of here, we get to hang out with our good friend. He's a former Packers first-round pick, Super Bowl champion, Bryan Bulaga, co-host of the Homer Hour, which starts at 5 o'clock. Joins us now on KBN. Bryan, last time we talked to you was Monday, and since then, the Packers traded Preston Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 7th-round pick at the NFL trade deadline on Tuesday. Curious on your reaction on that, as your pass rush, your worst group so far this season, I guess on paper got a little bit worse on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I understand where Goody's coming from, right? He consistently wants to get younger on the roster, and I understand that. I would guess that Preston's reps were going to decrease, and he wanted to get some of the younger guys more snaps, but at the same time, those edge rushers, we only have so many of them, right? Like, this is the NFL. Things happen. Guys could miss a game, miss 2 games, and if we have one of those 3, or really our 3 pass rushers that we have on the roster that have played in a lot of games and have a lot of snaps. If one of those guys misses time, it looks very bare on the edge, and that's a problem. So that was my only thought about is that I thought maybe he would maybe go get someone as well, but it didn't happen, and we have what we have now.
Come on, you played there for 10 years. You know they don't get people at the deadline. That's not what they do up at 1265.
Well, hey, this is a new era, right? Like, normally they don't go spend a lot of money in free agency, and they did that.
That's very true.
And, so this is a new day, but at the same time, they are very conservative with these trade deadline type things. They don't like giving away, second round or first round picks for premier players. Like, they'd rather draft them and develop them and go from there. I mean, Goody still has that, by nature with him. So I get it, but at the same time, like, I'm just worried about depth at this point too. So, like, this is a numbers game as well as, like, hey, we need quality out of this pass rush. So that's my only thought about kind of where we went at the trade deadline.
Yeah, Brian, so there was an article written by ESPN's Rob Demoski, and he talked about the 4 things the Green Bay Packers need to fix going into the second half of the season. And those 4 things were interceptions, drop passes, penalties, and pass rush. Which one do you believe is the most urgent matter the Packers need to fix?
Well, it's a good question. And, because obviously all those things are very glaring right now, right? Like, and those are big issues. It's not like they're small things like penalties ruin drives. Like, we've seen that happen from week 1 till now. And the drop passes, like that one, I guess that's like the bottom of my list because obviously we saw it in the rain game. And besides that, it hasn't been too bad, at least not something that I've been watching the games going, man, we're dropping a ton of balls here. So, like,
has
that's
been
kind of the bottom
of the wins or losses.
Yeah, correct. So that brings me to pass rush and interceptions, right? And to me, those are the 2 things that need to kind of get taken care of, and those have to be focus points. And I'll always, listen, teams are driven by quarterbacks. That's what this league is. It's a quarterback-driven league. Everyone knows if you don't have a top one or a good one, you can't win. So, like, the quarterback is the focal point. So for me, it's, hey, if Jordan Love cleans it up a little bit, takes care of the football a little bit better, we're just gonna start stacking wins, and these games aren't gonna be so, like, nail biting all the time. And so I think just let's clean up the picks and we'll go from there.
Self-inflicted wounds, though, right? We talk about the drop passes, we talk about the penalties. Are those things that are easy to clean up, Brian?
Yeah, I think they are. I think especially the penalties. The penalties are, a lot of the time, we're seeing mental errors, right? Like false starts and stupid holding penalties. Like, those things can be cleaned up very easily. Guys just have to dial in and focus. Drop passes, that's a focus thing as well. But sometimes, hey, man, it's tough to catch a ball when it's tight in traffic, right? And you're about to get whacked. Like, things happen. Those are physical errors. I look at things like false starts and holding. Like, you just got to clean those types of things up, and they can do that.
Absolutely. More of that great insight from the doctor of football. Bryan Bulaga coming up next with Homer on the Homer Hour. That will do it for us on Kyle Bruston-Nortman from X Golf at American Family Field.
Let's run it back tomorrow.
Kyle and I running it back tomorrow. We'll just be back in the studio tomorrow. The Homer Hour coming up next from 5 to 6 on ESPN Milwaukee. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Well, we got a problem on 4394 southbound, right about at Beecher. We've got an accident off on the right shoulder. Emergency crews are on the scene. Definitely things are backing up